Hello and welcome to a special Friday Night League episode of The Dive. I am Kobe, joined by Keen Lamb, the writer of 10 Thoughts, who is taking his very first plunge into the dive. Welcome.
Thank you, Kobe. I've always wanted to dive into this. If you get,
I think it is a little weird that we're calling it The Dive and we're like branching the dive out into these different shows. I kind of like the ring of the Keen and Kobe show. Maybe we can establish a podcast or something along those lines.
We can 1v1 every week to decide if Keen or Kobe comes first, and then every now and then it'll be Kobe and Keen and you'll know who won the 1v1.
I like it. What are you rated right now, by the way? I'm a little competitive, and I know that you have always been, either diamond or master. So I feel like these 1v1s would get heated.
I feel like I'm getting called out here now. I'm actually only plat like 3 or something. Okay. I have not really.
I feel better.
I haven't been playing as much. I've been kind of on the Escape from Tarkov binge. If you've heard of that game at all.
So, yeah.
They're definitely on the shooter train with like Valorant and everything. So. Nice. But I do still have some pride as a mid laner where I feel like I can jump a couple divisions up to take a jungler if I need to.
That's true. You should have an inherent advantage.
Wait, where are you at right now?
Right now, I am also a little embarrassed because I'm only at Diamond 2. Oh. And I usually pride myself on keeping up at like the D1 Masters line, where I can try to peek my head into Masters for a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Just unlucky teammates, what happens.
Exactly. So I watched a couple of the podcasts that you do with Jat, the JLXP, and really like the kind of slower style that you did with him, and just kind of breaching some of the subjects that have been popping up this week. Our week one was full of a lot of stuff to unpack, and I kind of wanted to start it off actually with talking about Jat, because he left us again. I was heartbroken the second time, and it was kind of a different reaction, because the first time he left, we were all shocked. And we're like, oh my God, like we have to go into red alert mode. What are we going to do to replace all these things that Jat did? And the second time we're like, okay, I guess he's leaving again. Similar thing. How was it for you? Because now this time around, you've already developed your own, relationships with Jat with these podcasts, and kind of got a weekly thing going.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely was surprised. I'm glad that you guys had some experience in kind of making that shift. You just go into your Google Docs and search Jat leaving. You go find documents from like a year ago. It's like, oh, we were prepared for this. For me,
actually, I felt like we dealt with it worse this time. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of these things where, so in the spring split, I finally started doing all these podcastings, and I felt like I was kind of getting into a groove at the end. So it's kind of a little sad to have Jat leave. We're going to lose out on the dosage of NBA that we kind of brought. But there's no NBA right now anyway, so maybe in due time, you are Kobe after literally Kobe Bryant, so there's definitely some space for the basketball talk there. But for me personally, I think it's very exciting to be chatting with you specifically right now. And when you talk about the laid back style, I've mentioned this, I think, to you in the past as well, but I've also told other people, is like you specifically and Wombat were the people that kind of got me into League of Legends in terms of like from a casting, like you guys were the guys I grew up with. So like those of you coming in recently are like, oh, I got Captain Flowers, I got Kobe, I got Freak. And for me back in the day, 2012 with the TSM Invitationals, it was Kobe and Wombat casting these like 10-hour marathons on Saturdays and Sundays. So that was, it's a very exciting place to be. Almost a decade later.
Yeah, you're really bringing me back with that one. That's pre LCS. For everybody who's not a boomer like us, watching a lot of these games, and that was a time, where we there were a lot less rules too, which maybe allowed us some more freedom with some of the liberties that we would take during those casts. I really do want to examine more what Jat has done in his first week, because we've all, of course, this is a big topic for all of us, and we're all like, anticipating what is going to happen as he's transferring into head coach. He's been very outspoken, like, all right, I'm coming in mostly to watch and learn. And I'm like so jealous because I'm like, I want to learn from Core JJ, just have him every day, all day, discussing league strategy and, learning from the players what they feel like their identity is. Those all sound like such exciting opportunities and some new challenges to go after. So I put together a little draft analysis on Team Liquid's first 2 games. It's a very small sample size, but I could already see both old Team Liquid style and Jat as we know him. Because we know Jat, as a jungler himself, he's always this more low risk style, focusing more on like heavy farm and kind of guaranteed advantages to try and build up and on an objective focus. And if you actually look at their first 2 drafts, they're almost identical. And it kind of slipped by a lot of the people because it's only 2 games, first 2 games, right? 2 points to make a line. That's barely a pattern. But in both of the games, they draft 3 of the exact same champions: the Mordekaiser, the Trundle, it's one of his favorites, and Aphelios, and then Azir Orianna as their mid laner. As you're a mid laner, like that's the exact same class of scaling control mage, right? And then they put a little bit of flavor in with Core JJ's pick, which is a CC of either Bard, more offensive, looking for picks, or the Braum. And to me, that's just a very clear and kind of iconic both Team Liquid and Jat style. How do you feel like he's melding with the team already and kind of what they already showed in their week 1 trend?
Yeah, I thought the control style was definitely what you would expect. I think when you saw him as an analyst, I think he kind of gravitated towards teams that, like, he had a lot of respect for teams that could control the map well. I don't know him well enough in terms of like the playing side of things. So in terms of like, so it's interesting to see that you're like, oh, Trundle is a very Jat pick. And I know throughout the broadcast, like it wasn't just you, but like everybody was kind of cracking jokes about how like, oh, of course Jat's gonna like pick Fiddlesticks and he's got all these weird things that he likes to pick. And so it was nice for me to kind of get that kind of perspective. Like you said though, there's a lot left in the season, and it's always one of these things where like I've always wondered this: if you are a coach. I'm also curious from your perspective because you actually mentioned on the dive this week how you've fielded some offers throughout the years as well, which was very interesting to me. So I'm curious. There's always these kind of 2 trains of thoughts, right? Is when you come in with a new coach or like a new GM, do you implement your system? And this is also a thing that they talk about in basketball, football all the time. Is do you implement your system, or do you adjust the way you coach to fit your pieces? And so I'm curious. Is this Jat implementing his system? Do the pieces already fit the system? Like, what is the balance between that? And like from your perspective, like how do you approach that when you like, let's say you want to play a style that favors a jungle carry heavily, but your jungler is, I'm not gonna name names. Let's say your jungler is me. Yeah, he's some plat 3 scrub that you have to deal with. But you think the proper way is to play through jungle, but you can't make that trade. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think that's one of the more interesting challenges that could pop up, especially if you're looking at this example, which has really established players that would be very hard, especially if you're coming in as a head coach with no head coaching experience, to try and force a style on them. And I think that's why Jat has been really outspoken about, all right, I'm going to come in very tentatively and try and learn from you and embrace, the ideas and the style that you have, and then try and use that information to get the best possible outcome. To your earlier point, I think this is a case where they actually align on a lot of them, because Jat kind of does hold a lot of similar views, I feel like, on the way that the game is played in this kind of what as the Team Liquid more slow, more risk averse, I would say. And I watched some of the interviews from the players as well to get, try and glean some information from a lot of these strong personalities. Broxah to me is one of the biggest. And he did an interview where he talked about looking at replays from last season and thinking, why aren't we fighting here? Why am I not, taking this objective? Why am I not fighting here? Like he was pretty outspoken about like wanting to be more aggressive. And then he's on back-to-back Trundle games, and he gets chased out of his jungle by a Nidalee, and that's got to be frustrating. But his focus on the objective in the first one was a big part of that early dragon fight, big part of how they were able to smash in 25 minutes in their victory over TSM. And I think it has been a pretty good melding of the pieces that already kind of fit.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that is going to be different is like the old TL, that like the 4 championship TL, the way you really thought about them playing was their bot lane would just smash, and then they would rotate Doublelift and Core JJ around the map to kind of generate advantages. And I feel like to me, that was never the optimal way to play League of Legends, especially at an international level, and call it a mid lane bias or whatever. But I feel like you should play around mid, especially when you have Jensen in mid lane, who to me is still one of the like premier players in the league. And now you've added Broxah, and I feel like that's the tandem that wins. Like I was talking to, I think, FBI before the season began, and he said that Cloud9, the way they would win is they would play through mid and let Nisqy and Blabber generate plays from the beginning. And what happens when you play through mid is you can pivot that power to either side of the map immediately. Whereas when you're bot lane, you have to wait till like, oh, finally we get the heralds up, we're going to rotate and go all the way back through base. It's a really awkward way to shift your power around the map. But when you play through mid jungle, you can kind of shift it through top, through bot, into enemy jungle. Like there's so many quadrants you can hit. And what Cloud9 does is they take that power and they immediately gain advantages either mid or top, or where, like using Nisqy and Blabber, and then they can push that. And that's how Zven gets so strong, right? Is he gets so much support from his sides, and it's like all these memes we see about like, oh, AD carries don't have any agency. So why would you ever focus a game plan around bot lane in the early game when you should just do it through mid if you have 2 premier players in mid and jungle, and that's what TL has.
And I think everything you're saying has been proven in the last 2 years of competitive play multiple times. Like G2's rise to dominance in Europe, completely based off this. They got 2, not just 1, but 2 of the best mid laners in the world, in their region, and move 1 down to the bottom lane so they could have a little bit more of that agency. And they even used more mages down at the bottom side. And then FPX, Doinb fully embraces this style of the actually he's pretty much the founder of it. I don't know about embracing something that you were one of the big creators of, but like you're talking about, roaming to other points of the map from the mid lane that has all of this freedom. And of course, always a piece that goes right with that is the jungle. And that's why I really like you're bringing up Cloud9 to kind of build out our structure of the North American scene, where they are undoubtedly the kings at the top. You talked about it in your 10 thoughts of Cloud9 being number 1, and have all these metaphors of being untouchable. And like, there's no question, right? And this is the team that's always looking to be proactive, always looking for the next advantage that they can create on the map for themselves. And I see them more as this like berserking horde of attack team, right? And then you go down to our possible contenders. There's Team Liquid there, which is much more, at least in the first 2 games that they have shown, and in a lot of the history of the team, more of like a fortress kind of stonewall team that will try and more outscale you, more 5v5 fight you, more focus on objectives. And I would put FlyQuest in a similar boat to that. And FlyQuest, while they were in the finals, I think it was very telling that Blabber, I believe it was, in his interview afterwards, was like, FlyQuest, easy. Like, we know exactly what they're going to draft. We never feel like we're under pressure versus this team. And it's kind of the difference in those 2 styles, where Cloud9 fully embraces the one that's trying to create, the one that is proactive, and some of the teams that look for more scaling.
It's like in tennis and ping pong. If you play either of those with any regularity, the way I've always looked at FlyQuest, and to some extent TSM and even SKT always fit this mold to me, is there are teams who are like defensive and they kind of are reactionary. And like in tennis, it's the kind of player that like
Yeah.
you're always like you go like slam stuff at him. You're trying to add top spin. You're trying to do all these crazy things to get him to move, and they are just really good at returning everything. They're never gonna they very rarely will just slam something past you and beat you, but they just
And it's frustrating too, because when they hit it back, it's like, oh, it's soft kind of lobby thing. Right. You're like, I gotta.
but they don't let anything get by them, and they just wait for you to make mistakes, and they kind of force you to like finally you hit this like insane like anime style fireball that goes across and curves, and that's what they're looking for you to make. And the problem with a lot of teams is they're not good at creating that anime style spin shot that like you need to be able to do to beat these like really relaxed defensive teams. Like those teams, like if you
that's your Blabber and your Niski. They're the fireball.
They're the fireball, and FlyQuest is that defensive wall that just kind of like it's like playing like a good like AI against Pong, like a really good. It's just always back and forth, and it's like boom, boom. And FlyQuest is so good at doing that, and so they will beat like when you play that kind of style, you beat teams that you are better than, like without fail. If they like if you are better than them, it's a safe style. You can scale, you can win. But this is always kind of bit NA in the ass when we go to international, which is like this is kind of how Liquid played. This is kind of how TSM played. And then they found these teams that have like the Shy on them. They have Caps on them. They have Faker on them. They have these guys that are the fireballs that kind of spin past them. And I think that's what makes Cloud9 so exciting. And that's what made not having MSI so disappointing was we didn't kind of see, hey, we have a team that is like that fireball style finally. And they unfortunately didn't get to play out. So I mean, that's the kind of
let's see them light some people on fire.
Yeah, right. So no, it's exciting. I think to see teams start to understand, hey, Cloud9 is playing this game in this way that we probably should be playing, and I hope teams start gravitating towards that.
Yeah, I agree, and I thought it was cool. And we're mentioning FlyQuest in their attempt again versus Cloud9. They tried, like you're saying, to hit some of these shots. In the early game, they were attempting to scrap with C9, and were just unable, to do so successfully. Blabber is able to farm so much more efficiently. You mentioned this specifically in your Cloud9 10 thoughts about the gank up topside, and I even talked about it on the dive too, because I thought it was so interesting. Where Ssumday on the top side of the map gets this big advantage. As an Ornn, solo versus GP, blowing the flash, and the wave is pushing towards him. You're like, dream scenario. It's going to be a great gank, right? It's a very obvious choice. They've made some changes to the game to experience that you get for shared kills, especially early in the game, that have lowered the value of getting some of these early kills. And actually increase some of the value in several patches way back, not super recently, to farming your camps. And we got to see it play out on stage, because you're thinking, oh, these are all great things. He burned the flash. They got the wave pushing towards him. Meteos goes up there. They even kill Licorice. However, Blabber on super quick clear speed Olaf gets to clear both scuttles, gets to clear down to the bottom side of the map, gets this level lead, because he didn't spend the extra time going to gank, and steals away one of the marks as well. And Cloud9 are able to use that advantage, even though 100 Thieves did make the strong play on top side.
And one of the things people kind of overlook, and I don't know how accurate this number is, but every level, you gain stats, just base stats, and also you get another ability level. So I think somebody calculated it's like, I don't know if this is just an old adage that I've just made up and just held true over the years, but they say it's about 1,000 gold worth of stats and ability power.
So it was a bit lower. Me and Freak did it. And it obviously depends on your champion, and some of the stats are mana and stuff, but we had it around 500 to 600. And again, this was a long time ago, but that's still a significant amount. And that's not taking into account, like you're saying, the extra ability, which is guaranteed damage. But
so, yeah, I mean, so that's like, even just that's more than First Blood, right? So I was watching this, and actually I was curious from your perspective, because I started thinking about it. And so when you're casting as like the color caster, when you were looking and somebody like at a certain point in the Cloud9 FlyQuest game, I looked up and I was like, oh, kills are like 4 to 4, but Cloud9 is up 3,000 gold. And so it's easy for us to be like, oh, it's because they have better macro. But I'm curious, like if you're a viewer and you tune in and hey, Cloud9's really good at getting these like I don't know if they're even hidden, but these advantages that don't necessarily show up on the kill count, they don't show up sometimes even in tower. Like, what do you look for personally in the early game that says, oh, hey, they're generating like 500 gold here, 300 gold here? Like, what are the things
I
a
like this
viewer
a
should
lot.
be watching for to kind of notice what Cloud9 is doing?
Yeah, I like this a lot because you're bringing up the nuance of team compositions,
Mhm.
and it all comes down to where are you spending your resources and for what purpose. Because if you have a team built around early game and built around dragon stacking, trying to get to a super early soul, something like that, versus the 100 Thieves example where they put Someday on Ornn. Now, Someday, their best player, maybe best top laner in the entire league even. That might cause some drama, but that's always a, you're always like, oh, all right, we want to get Someday the advantage, but he's playing a tank and he is going to get more tanky. But how do you win with that? Does this investment of resources play into your specific team game plan of how you're going to win the game? Or are you in getting that advantage, are you giving up something that is key to your opponent's win condition? And a level 6 Olaf that has supporting champions that have been drafted for it, to get an early dragon, to play off of early bottom fights, this sort of thing. And so it does come down to, yes, some plays are good plays holistically, and some of them are really feeding into your carry and to your specific win condition. So I like that nuance, because everyone looks at the top of the screen and they're like, this team is ahead by this amount of gold. All right, well, what is the plan? Is this team getting outscaled? Do they have siege composition? Are they trying to poke, or are they trying to draw you to Baron? And those types of those things always keep me interested in League and the evolving strategies, and which one is better at which time.
So in that specific situation where Meteos got the first blood, Someday generate, like they blew his flash, and Blabber and C9 still ended up flipping that into an advantage for Cloud9 somehow down the road. If you're 100 Thieves and you look at that, you say, okay, well, there's no way getting first blood was actually a bad play, even though we gave up like a scuttle for it. My question is that true? Was it like, should they have not gone for that first blood? Or like, what did they need to do after securing that first blood to actually guarantee that that was a good play?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, because again, I have the same reaction where I'm like, there's no way that was wrong. You burned his flash. The wave is pushing against you. Olaf is clearing top to bottom. So unless the changes to early kill experience were so extreme that losing a scuttle, which Olaf already, if you have a pushing mid laner, has a decent chance of doing that. The Kindred kind of has to get vision of the Olaf, go to the other one, wait for the Mark II spawn on that crab. Sometimes it can be hard anyway, but jungle is always about being efficient with your time. And since there are so many changes to jungle camp experience and kill experience and the debate of when to spend your time going for these ganks, I thought that was a pretty efficient use of time. But I do need to go back and check once again about the route and what camps were remaining, because it does have longer lasting effects later into the game. Sometimes if you reveal yourself that early against a super powerful early jungler like Olaf, then it can cost you more things. There could be ramifications that you didn't think of in the moment.
Yeah. So moral of the story for those of you playing solo queue, especially as a jungler, if the other guy gets first blood first, sometimes you can just be like, no. It's not always a good thing to get first blood, So make sure you.
I still maintain that it is always a good thing to get the first blood. If you don't have to camp in that brush for like 5 minutes or something like that, it didn't take him too much time going up there. So I'm still I have such a hard time letting go of that, of being like, what are you saying? The Olaf getting an extra crab? I don't know.
Last thing I just want to say before we run out of time here is, I know you were talking about how Jat wanted to, one of the things he said he wants to do is learn. So I have a conspiracy theory I would like to throw out here, which is that we can expect Jat to potentially return if suddenly his solo queue ranking starts like, oh, suddenly Jat's challenger. He's really doing, he's specifically coaching just to improve his solo queue rank. That is my theory there.
So is he getting boosted by one of his players to get Challenger? that's what I would think if I saw his rating going up to Challenger. I'd be like,
it's a duo queue with some guy named Bloxa. Like, like who could that be?
I like it. All right. I mean, this was a really quick, just 25-minute segment, but I definitely enjoy the talk and where we can start to go with this. For now, if you want to view more episodes of The Dive, the regular dive with regular people, head over to Spotify or any of the other major platforms. And also stay tuned now, because after the countdown, Friday Night League kicks off at Tanner time with Golden Guardians taking on the ever faithful Counter Logic Gaming.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on this Juneteenth for Friday Night League. Our way of kicking off the LCS week with a brand new video game announcement and the ultimate OP item tier list, all before CLG faces off against Golden Guardians and then TSM load up against Immortals. Of course, I am thrilled once again to have Prolly and Mark by my side, but we do have a special guest this evening. Grayson, Golden Glue, Gilmer, how are you doing going into the weekend?
Hey, I'm doing well, and I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, super stoked to have you. And if I'm being quite honest, I'm surprised we're in week 2 because week 1 went so quickly. We didn't even get to do our Samsung SSD Fast 5. Now, you may be wondering what that is because it's a new segment that we have here on the LCS where we track our LCS leaderboards for some stats that highlight those players at our speed running through the league. And the first category we're going to take a look at is jungle position. Blabber undoubtedly in that #1 spot. Mark, what do you make of those findings?
Yeah, each position has a different stat tied to it, and for jungle, it's the level 6 time. And what's insane to me is not that Blabber's in #1, I think that would be expected, but that he's a full minute ahead of Closer, who also was hulking out last week. So Blabber is absolutely insane to be able to get this so early into the game. This is a single game time, not average. That's one game he got it at 5.5 minutes, basically. That's nuts. And of course, this doesn't happen on its own. You know, his team did a really good job supporting him. They had a lot of draft picks that back up his aggressive play style.
Well, and speaking of how those other roles can support this happening, each individual role has its own category of a statistic that they're going off for the leaderboard. And Golden Glue, if we take a look at the mid laners and where they currently stack up, it seems like they have an inverse relationship of some sorts with how their junglers are doing on their own respective list.
Yeah, most definitely. You see how Damonte and Nissi are 6 and 7 in this list of hitting level 11. When you saw Closer and Blabber being #1 and #2, there's definitely a correlation between how selfless your mid laner is playing and how far ahead you can get your jungler because of that. You see Jizuki is #1, and he's really had a big carry performance last weekend, but you didn't see Svenskeren in the top 3 of the jungle level 6 timer. So it's a cool relationship between selfless playstyle and a selfless playstyle.
And don't fret, everyone, we will get Golden Glue's further extended thoughts on the mid lane matchup for what we have coming today. But before we do that, Prolly, revisiting the leaderboards in totality, what are some other front runners that you think we should be keeping our eye on after their performance in week 1?
All right, so some honorable mentions that throw up are Kumo in the top lane. The stat is 100 CS time, and he's about a minute ahead of the next place person. And Kumo's kind of special because especially the analyst desk, we're very critical of this player, but in the last 2 games, he's played very well and has actually been getting CS like pretty quickly, a lot faster than a lot of other top laners. And I'd say the second honorable mention goes to 2 people, Tactical and Doublelift in the bot lane for 10k gold time. Tactical being still a rookie and coming into the Team Liquid off of their terrible spring split, they're doing a really good job of finding a new home for him to perform well. And then Doublelift, any team he's on, he's always going to take the lion's share of the gold, so him being up there is not a big surprise.
I'm definitely curious to see how these change over time within the leaderboards, but for now, we are going to be stepping away. When we return with Friday Night League, we'll take a look at LCS's first video game. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back to Friday Night League, where I am happy to announce the LCS is releasing our very first video game. Now, earlier, to the excitement of all Pokemon fans, Nintendo announced a new Pokemon Snap. So we decided to make LCS Snap. This is a new adventure game where you can attempt to grab a photo of your absolute favorite die-hard LCS stars in their natural habitat. And luckily for all of us, we were invited into the alpha. You know, no big deal, no big
All right,
deal
we
at
have
all.
to say, if people are confused, this is not actually a new game. It's a segment. I feel like Twitch chat's gonna be like, wait, how do I play? No, it's a segment. It's
our game.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I played so much Pokemon Snap that I would know all the little secrets to get all the the legendary Pokemon on screen. So for me, the game that I was looking at was the Golden Guardians Dig matchup. The Trundle getting abused by Graves. I love to see it, so I went for a good action shot on the Trundle there. And this is apparently the score I got by the producers.
What a
B+.
great
Plus.
photo.
Plus is not too bad.
I like it. This
Passing.
seems realistic. You know, like I would take this photo and I'd be like, this is the best I can do. And then it's only a B+, and I'd just be upset with the grading system.
Yeah,
I think I'm
got
actually
some
pretty
extra
happy
space
with
on my
it.
wall. I'd be willing to put that back there.
Yeah, I respect it because I did have the back of Graves, so I think a
Yeah.
B+. I'll take that, Professor or Production Oak, whatever your name is.
Well, if Mark is settling with his B+, probably, I don't know. What are your hopes for yours? You got something good for us?
Yeah, so I had a little issue with mine. I actually ended up taking 2 snaps because I wanted to find this Trundle play. So the first one is a nice use of W, but that wasn't the one I'm going to take. The one I'm going to take is right here where we have Broxah flashing away from Closer's Nidalee. We get the spear and the flash animation in the same snap.
You guys
Yours
see.
is working.
All right.
Even though this moment was better, though, do you think you would have got a better grade if you went with the first one, just because of the whole action shot?
Probably.
I mean, probably, but it's objective. That shot was harder to get than Trundle casting W, so come on.
True.
Yeah, I guess they didn't rate you high enough for effort put, and I don't know if the grading happened before. I'm making my case. I got mine. Let's show it. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I went over the river. I went through the woods to get it. I worked hard, everybody. So it's no stranger to see Blabber being aggressive, but the 1v2 situation takes a little extra effort. I threw the rocks at them to get them angry, and this is what I came up with. But I only got a B!
Yeah, that's pretty whack. I gotta say, there's not enough put on to capturing cool moments. Like you're up in the air. Professor Oak cares way too much about centering the picture. Apparently, it's whack.
Yeah.
It's centered between 2 characters. I think that's a fair centering.
Right? I mean, as a Floridian that has taken many photos jumping into the air beachside, it takes a lot of effort to capture it at the right moment. So I don't know if I agree with that rating. We do have one more, though. Golden Glue, do you think you can top us all?
Yeah, so I think I definitely got the rarest photo out of them all. We had to go into TSM Academy's games, and we're going to take a photo right here of Spica transforming Kane at 23 minutes. So this is really rare. This is kind of a great encapsulation of your team's Kane versus enemy team's Kane. You know, it's very rare to see this.
Yeah, this is definitely the Pokemon trainer who was pressing B at the evolution screen to stop it. I don't know why he wants to unevolve Kane, some kind of challenge run or something.
Is it like
no.
an accident B, you know?
Oh, you're just mashing to get through
Yeah,
the
you're
text.
mashing it just to get through the text, and then you got it, and you're like, oh. Next one.
Well, Ash can be happy with his Pokemon never becoming Raichu. I think we can give Spica a pass there. Maybe a little bit of sentimental value for him. But we do have some other kind of top-notch things to look at, because in addition to our wonderful artistry skills, the start of summer has seen a couple OP things pop up. Some that took 200 plus years of experience to craft, others that have made their way into our hearts. A menacing bruiser lifesteal item, Death's Dance, that has really drawn attention. So, Golden Glue, as the one that probably has more solo queue games than any of us currently, what do you make of this OP item?
Yeah, this item's disgusting. I hate to see it in my games if it's on the enemy team. You know, someone like Aatrox picks it up, Graves picks it up, Ezreal picks it up. Pretty much every single AD champion in the game. It's like the best in slot item that does a lot of damage, makes you really hard to kill. And, you know, pair that in with something like Yuumi or something, and it's literally impossible to kill them. And it's, yeah, please nerf.
I mean, it's definitely busted, but it's still I wouldn't call it meta defining the way some other items are. Yeah. So it does everything really well for any champion who does AD. You'll get tankiness, you'll get sustain, you'll get damage. So there's no reason not to pick it up. Oh, it's best in slot for basically lifesteal items at this point.
Probably. Yeah. Do you think there's anywhere specifically that we should be seeing this more?
I mean, I told Grayson, he was complaining, mid laners don't really get to build this item. So I say, you're playing the wrong mid laners, because really, you could just play anything that does attack damage and build this item and it's effective. It's good against armor, it's good for magic resist, and it's like an anti-burst item and sustain item. So it's kind of like, it really is too many things in one item. So pick it up when you can.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's kind of difficult to determine whether an item is OP when you look at it in isolation. So I want to look back at the LCS's really rich history of OP items. So Golden Glue, we tasked you with some homework going into this to make your OP list of items. Are you ready to reveal it?
Yeah, okay, so I just want to preface this as I did this off memory, and this is definitely not accurate. So definitely some of the stuff I put on S tier is the stuff that I just remembered hating playing against. I hated playing against like the 13 health pot or the red elixir start Kha'Zixes back in the day. They could literally just one-shot you level 1.
Dude, how do you have Black Cleaver in A tier?
Oh
You talk
my
about
God.
meta-defining items. This was like everyone would not only did everyone build a Black Cleaver, but everyone built multiple Black Cleavers because none of the things were unique on release. Am I the only one who remembers this?
Yeah, he definitely forgot about Black Cleaver meta, where it's like, if you're not playing a Black Cleaver champion, you lose
just
the game.
lose. Yeah.
And it's not
I
even
remember
about like,
stacking it.
yeah, it's not about AD or AP champions anymore. It's like, you just build full AD comp, and everyone will build Black Cleaver, and it's fine.
Definitely when I was just looking at those items, it just took me back of like, oh my god, I forgot this was in the game. Like,
You remember triple gold per 5 mid laner items?
Yeah.
Ooh, baby, what a meta.
That
Yeah.
Oracle's Elixir should be S tier, because you had
Yeah.
to buy that, or your team was going to lose the game.
Yeah.
I would argue the items that you remember most would be the most broken as well. But for now, we are going to step away. When Friday Night League returns, we'll have a special edition of This or That.
Hello and welcome back to This or That special edition here with James. We have 3 quick slides for you, so let's get right into them. Better North American mid laner, Damonte. Is it Tanner time? He is back. Or is it the OG POB?
All right, rapid fire. My gut is Damonte.
Ooh.
I know, which is pretty wild because it's hard for me to say that in the face of Pobelter's entire North American career, which is long. This guy has been a star since he was young. Pre-eligibility, he was a star. But Damonte more recently, I feel, has made a splash in multiple areas, not only as a player, but also as a personality. And I think that there's a lot of value in that overall in North America and in a professional sports league. But let's look at his first 2 games out. He has completely injected the teams that he has played with recently with a type of fire, both on Clutch before and here on Golden Guardians. And I'm excited to see what he and Closer can pull off as a duo. I'm going Damonte.
Agree. I'm super excited for this matchup between the two. I would say that Damonte probably has a better team with him, so it might not be as fair.
Dude,
for Pobelter.
yeah.
I'm gonna choose the side of Pobelter. And again, I'm pretty biased because I've known Pobelter since he was 14 years old, playing League of Legends his whole life. So I also really enjoy Pobelter's personality. I think he has a really fun, like, troll kind of deadpan jokey as well. And he single-handedly in spring coming back to CLG also reignited them with a fire.
true.
So I feel like both of them, have this kind of extra energy that they have brought to the teams. And he also has this added little extra benefit of his time coaching with Team Liquid, where he's bringing a lot of, out of game experience into some in-game leadership as well. But definitely love both of them. Let's go North American mid laners.
Yeah.
Did Biofrost steal his boss's Penta? Or give his boss a quadra kill?
I'm gonna go with give his boss a quadra kill. I'm going with that because pentas are earned. You pick those up if you are meant to have them. You go out and you fight for them, and I'm happy to see teammates make make each other fight for them. And so, you know what? Bio gave his AD carry a quadra.
The whole reference here, by the way, is that Bjergsen is a shareholder in TSM.
Right.
And in the game, he's Yuumi getting on Bjergsen, helping him get these kills, but then the Aerie takes the last kill and steals the kill. So technically, Bjergsen's seen as his boss. I would say, I completely agree. He's giving his boss a quadra kill there. Right. People always look at these plays where there's a big carry with Yuumi on them. Oh my God, 1v5ing, that's 2 players.
Right. You wouldn't have been in that position without me. So yeah, exactly. He gave his boss a quadra. Easy peasy.
Right,
on
next
that
slide.
one.
We're on the side of Bio. Thank you for your generosity, Biofrost.
What would you rather show your
parents? Interesting. Your chat logs. My chat logs squeaky clean.
Yeah,
I've
mine
never
too.
been chat restricted.
Or my search history?
Yeah, hell no.
Oh, hell no. Yeah, never that. You never show anyone your search history. I don't care who you are. That's just something that should be avoided at all costs. My chat logs, Kobe and I are nice boys, nice, wholesome boys. All we do is support our teammates. Hey, coming for a gank. Hey, maybe please don't feed a whole bunch, but there's always please and thank yous.
Yeah, I mean, I have some moments where I might type something bad and I just don't anymore.
Yeah, you type bad, Control A, delete, enter.
I will
Just
say
get
that
rid of it.
I'm a bit more sassy on my Smurf, but I'm not. It's nothing that I would be embarrassed about showing my chat logs.
Yeah, I think my parents would be quite proud of the way I represent myself on Summoner's Rift. Thank you very much. But I would
Honor
not
5
show
representing.
That's damn right, Honor 5. But search history, not a question.
Yeah, that's a big note for me. Let's get back to
FNL
or the commercial that they've got out.
Wherever we're going, just
Whichever
get there.
one it is, it's great.
Well, I can tell you, Kobe, we're here. It's Friday Night League. It's now. And I don't think we can move on without talking more about the Damonte and Pobelter matchup. It's an NA mid laner matchup. We've got Golden Glue here on the desk. So first, fresh thoughts from you on what we're about to see here between the two.
Yeah, so I think if you wanted to take like a very general look at it, I would say that Damonte is going to be playing the more team play, do and be Nisqy kind of style, and Pobelter will be playing a bit more of the archaic style of mid lane. And that's also because of the team they play in. Damonte has this jungler closer to play around. That's someone that you can put resources into, and you can sacrifice for him, and he will make big plays and carry the game. And I kind of expect Pobelter to pick something more archaic, like Azir or Orianna, something that is an individual carry and tries to get its own lead.
I think the term archaic is one I really like, and apologies if my mic is cracking. I will figure this out in a little bit. But I think it's a really good term for what does feel a slightly outdated playstyle. Not like it can't work or that it's outright wrong, but that it is more reminiscent of things that we saw in previous seasons. And I don't think like Pobelter is the poster child for it. I think people like Bjergsen and Froggen and even Jensen a little bit do play that kind of more lane-centric, control mage-oriented style more so than some of the other people who are willing to really go out there and do crazy stuff like Nisqy on the other end.
Yeah, on that note, probably kind of expanding upon that, we're seeing it erupt more and more, this aggressive style, the mid-centric style. Do you see it having a trickling effect even more so on the LCS League? I mean, Nisqy setting it, Damonte picking it up, maybe some other ones kind of going in that direction?
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a point where when you play against these teams who have the mid laners who aren't playing this really slow style, your team is kind of going to be curious, like, why are we so behind on tempo? Why is there so much pressure on the map? And you're going to pretty much boil it down to, like, well, they're mid laners moving. So this is a style I think a lot of mid laners are learning to get better at. I know Power of Evil is a big one Mark mentioned, where his old style for years was this slow farming style, but recently he's been playing a lot more aggressively, giving a lot more back to his team, and it shows a lot. Like, these are the mid laners that are, like, top of the league now. So I do think it's a style that is going to be forced in the future, but right now I think there's still a few that are kind of back in their old ways.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about people updating their play styles. Like, Pobelter is someone who I don't think was ever like the full-on hard focus on himself player. Even back when that was something that was prevalent, he would take his Azirs and roam up to the top side on his Immortals days and stuff like that. And so it is this kind of gradient of what people can fall into in how they're playing, and also what champions you're playing within it. Jizuke is kind of selfish, but he's playing assassin-y things, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note that it's not necessarily just all in this like mid laners, like they're choosing to do this. Sometimes it's the team they're in, this is their best way to win, you know? Like, if you have someone else on your team who's really good at utilizing a mid move, then you're going to be more likely to move around the map and help your team, right? But if you move around the map and it's not gaining you anything and you're sacrificing, you know, players can be more likely to just be a bit more selfish. So it's not totally just like the mid laner being like, I want to be selfless. You know, I want to take all the resources. You know, there's a bit of like push and pull between like the team needs to do well at utilizing the mid laner if they're going to play a more roamy style.
Well, then let's talk about some of those other elements within the team. Probably, why are the junglers important for us to look at here when also evaluating how the mid laners are going to do?
Because the people who love this playstyle the most are junglers, because this means that you get to kind of do whatever you want because you have someone in your back pocket. And with Damonte backing up Closer here, Closer's already a very aggressive jungler, so Damonte is going to enable that a lot more, so he's going to be able to play his style a lot more and be more successful that way.
Yeah, yeah. I've played with Closer. I can definitely tell you, he will tell you to move, and he will make sure you move, or you will know where you need to be. And if you're not there, you can expect to get flamed a little bit.
And I think CLG tried that style a little bit with their Game 1 draft when they had the Nidalee, Jace, and all these other things. They were trying to empower Wiggly to be able to go in, and people were supposed to collapse. It was just a game that didn't work out very well for them. And you can maybe look at the draft as well as maybe needing some improvements. But it is a style I wouldn't mind seeing them try a little bit more. I know in Academy, Wiggly was kind of the vocal point a lot of the times for the early game of CLG Academy when he was playing there. And he had a good Graves, and he was good about playing aggressive junglers. And so empowering is something that I'm hoping to see CLG try to continue a little bit.
Well, we have all of that analysis laid out on the table, which means soon enough there's only one last thing for all y'all to do, which is to make your predictions. But first, before we do that, I want you to start thinking like a prophet. I'm pulling someone in to help you do that. So let's hear from the only analyst to get complete perfect predictions after week number 1 of the LCS.
Oh, the prophet is back! Now I have been peeping into the future, and if you thought 2020 was crazy already, there is more insanity coming your way. Just wait till October, you have no idea what is in store. Now you're probably wondering, why do I look like this? Well, let me tell you, every prophet is truly just a hipster at heart, and you've caught me at home. I'm quarantined as well. So, I've traded my wizard hat for a toque, the contacts for some glasses, and I've dyed my beard orange. Now the matter at hand. It has come to my attention that every single member on the broadcast, with the exception of myself, has failed to predict the first week correctly. I'm the only one with a 10-0 perfect prediction rate. Come on, guys. Week 1 and you're already sinking your foot in the mud. Fear not, that is why I'm here. I'm here to offer you advice on predicting games. Stick to these and you'll be able to hit 100% prediction rates for the rest of the season. Number 1, when you're predicting a game, ignore the top lane. That's right, if one of you, son of a guns, makes another win condition involving the top lane, you're wrong. Number 2, you gotta have a spectrum. That's right, a spectrum. On the one hand, you got hungry players. And what do hungry players do? Well, they play to win. They want it. They play to win. And on the other side, well, you got sad players. And what do sad players do? They play not to lose. So you gotta pick all the hungry players and stay away from all the sad players. It's so simple, guys. And third, to anybody out there that is on the fence about what to predict and who to listen to, well, let me tell you, you're better off tossing a coin, okay? Tossing a coin. Don't listen to Marcus Pauly. Just toss a coin instead. And last, but certainly not least, you have to have been there. You have to have been there from the start. You have to know these players, their dreams, their aspirations, the ups, the downs, the ins and outs. And once you truly know, you can just put that into your story notes and get your damn predictions in order, guys, because next week is only gonna get easier. And if you don't get it right, I'm gonna have to come back and help you out some more, and I've got shit to do. Shit.
Wow, that was intense. Wow.
If there's like one thing to take away from that video, it's in isolation and in quarantine, just make sure you guys go outside, interact with people, see the sun. There's things can happen to you if you just stay by yourself all day. Be safe.
Yeah, that was really good motivation for me to do better, because I don't want to have to ever see Prophet Crumbs again. That was really good motivation. You know, I don't know if the advice was great, but it at least inspired me to try and get a perfect record next week.
Oh my, I was dying a little bit. Not gonna lie, I appreciate the passion from the Prophet there, but you all have the tips in your brain. Now you can make those expert predictions. So, Golden Glue, between this matchup that we have, CLG and Golden Guardians, who do you have taking it?
Yeah, I think Golden Guardians is probably going to take this one. I think Closer's probably just going to run over the game, pick some kind of carry jungle, and that'll be it.
Fair enough.
I think it's funny because I think Crumbs would have predicted CLG because he's holding their stock. So I don't know if we're going with the Prophet, but yeah, I'm going Golden Guardians too. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm agreeing with Golden Glue. I think this is a pretty heavily favored matchup where they stack up relatively similarly in a lot of the roles. I think mid lane's the one where we do see some of the biggest differences in style, and maybe top lane a little bit too. Rune does have some good games, but I think Damonte and Closer together will really overpower the mid jungle 2v2.
I mean, remember what Crumb said? Ignore the top lane. So don't even talk about it, Mark. But at least the jungle is a big mismatch, especially because in this meta, the early game is so controlled by the jungler. I think if you lose early game that hard, which Closer should be able to win against Wiggly, it's going to be a tough comeback for CLG.
All right, predictions are locked, all at the command of the Prophet. So that leaves nothing else for us to do but head into CLG versus Golden Guardian. So casters, take it.
Thank you very much, Latigress, and welcome everybody out there in the audience on this lovely Friday evening. My name is Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, and I am joined by my brother on another jungler, Mr. Sam Kobe Hartman Kinsler. How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great, Flowers. Actually recorded some specialty jungle stuff a little bit earlier, so if you're putting me on a jungler, my pick is Fiddlesticks now.
Oh, you're a Fiddlesticks player.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we'll actually see it in this quite yet, but I also know that a lot of the pros have been playing tank Fiddlesticks in the solo lane, Frozen Heart and Spirit Visage. So I'm hoping we get some spicy picks.
I was playing 3 o'clock in the morning friend games with Prismal from 100 Thieves Academy the other day, and he actually played that. And at first I thought he was inting me, but then he did really well. And I was like, wait a second, this isn't an int after all. So I'm glad to hear that that's coming from more than just one brain around here.
Yeah. Definitely a possibility.
But let's go ahead and jump back into what we're talking about here today, because we got CLG going up against Golden Guardians. The desk seems to be pretty convinced that it's going to come down to a lot in between these junglers, particularly Closer stepping up and doing a lot of work for the Guardians.
And it's hard to disagree with them, especially after seeing week 1. Golden Guardians, not only is Closer a very strong jungle player, Golden Guardians also drafted to support him. They draft him Graves and Nidalee, plus they draft some very aggressive lanes for Damonte, to leave his lane like they were talking about and help him out. Meanwhile, Wiggly and CLG, he also had a Nidalee game. Both these teams actually had Jace and Nidalee together in games, and Wiggly got it completely turned around on him, lost track of where the opponents were and got surprised. So I think we're going to see a lot more effort from CLG, specifically put into tracking enemy champions very early into the game, jungler and solo laners alike. Let's get right into the bans, though, as no junglers on the ban phase quite yet. Graves and Trundle, two of the most highly prized. Usually the Trundle players are going to want to ban Graves so you don't get abused like we saw a couple times in week 1. Phase rush Graves can really chase you down pretty easily.
And we can see Varus still living in his lovely apartment on 1234 Permaban This Dude Avenue, where he has been since the beginning of the split. Red side is pretty much forced to ban him away. Nobody wants to deal with that. But speaking of dealing with something, I got 200 reasons why CLG just started the draft off well, Kobe.
Aphelios is very good at scaling, and this is a highlight. A lot of teams have been early picking this champion. The 4 top S-tier AD carries right now: Varus, Kalista, Aphelios, and Ezreal. Now, Kalista and Varus are both banned, and if the team chooses the Aphelios, the more scaling option there, they're probably also going to choose more of a standard frontline. And like we talked about, Graves is already banned, so Trundle's probably going to rise in priority for them here. On the other side, Golden Guardians, they quickly picked up that other S-tier AD carry we talked about. Ezreal right now is S-tier because so good with the regular Muramana build, plus you can get a lot of defense built innately into it with the Iceborne Gauntlet. And of course, Death Dance, everybody's been slapping that one on well.
Oh yeah, Death Dance all over the place, daily, nightly, ever so rightly. Along with the Ezreal, we're going to see Golden Guardians lock in the set. And CLG, just as you predicted, they're thinking about Trundle. They locked that one in. And then something a bit more surprising, a bit more unorthodox, Twisted Fate locked in here for CLG.
And Twisted Fate, if you have a Trundle Aphelios team, to me seems like it's trying to cover a lot of offensive plays from your opponents early on. Trundle is not going to have priority in the jungle. He's very good at farming. He's very good at focusing on objectives. And Aphelios actually has, even though all the memes about him scaling into the late game are very true, his early game and his lane phase are not that powerful. So Twisted Fate, I think it's going to be a good pick for Poe Belter to try and put out fires across the map for CLG, which is probably a good thing. Since he's joined this team, it feels like Poe Belter has been trying to put out fires. On the other side, you talked about it. Set to me is a super highly prized pick because it's very flexible. They immediately lock in the Nidalee, though, for closer. No surprise. We talked about Graves, Nidalee, these power farming, very aggressive junglers that Golden Guardians want to set closer up to go invade on their opponents. And again, there's nothing that Trundle really does to Nidalee. He kind of has to dodge spears and walk away.
Now that you word it like that, Kobe, you know what I really want to see and what I really wish Riot would do? Skins team, if you're listening right now, pay attention because I'm about to make you guys a lot of money. Firefighter Twisted Fate, where when he shows up, it puts a fire hydrant on the ground, and then when he actually arrives, it bursts up into a bunch of water, and he starts throwing water at people to put out the fires in his side lanes and make sure he can carry his teammates who might be struggling. Ooh. Firefighter Twisted Fate. We already have a firefighter line. It fits in perfectly. Whether or not that happens, he is going to be going up against the Zoe there in the mid lane. Damonte will be on that one. We've seen this champion wreak plenty of havoc in the mid lane before. Ever since she's been introduced to the game, she has been pretty much a constant staple in mid lane play. And CLG is going to round things out with more beef, more frontline. It's Nautilus in the bottom lane. We've seen that plenty of times. And Volibear. This champion released, and he was bad. And now we buffed him, and he's not.
Yeah, this is one of the funny stories where on release, Volibear, I know specifically in the jungle, was the lowest win rate jungle of any character in the game after the rework. And then, boom, hotfix, and a patch later with a bunch of buffs, he rose up to the highest win rate jungle champion of every champion in the game. Since then, they toned him down a little bit. And this is going to be a top lane Volibear. The key is to identify Golden Guardians stacked a lot of their draft resources into poke. So very clear poke composition from the Golden Guardians. And you always want hard engage versus poke compositions, because if the poke composition gets that early lead, starts sieging up towers, you need some way to break the siege. And you can do a Messiah Twisted Fate move, which is an old classic people might not all associate, but you teleport in with the gold card, have a Zhonya's try and bait in the enemy team. Plus, their last 2 picks, Nautilus and Volibear, both of which have hard engage now.
You got to be careful making those boomer League of Legends
dating
references
myself
these days, Kobe. This game's been out for 10 years now. So a lot of players, they don't know about the Messiah. They don't know about the Empire. They don't know. I would dare to say some probably don't even know what the Xpeke is at this point in time. We're in season 10 now.
They're about to learn about the POB, and maybe they can associate it with Pobelter then, because Pobelter has carried a lot of hopes for CLG.
Pobelter going up against Damonte, and I really like this matchup in particular because although we're playing in North America, my friend, we only have 2 NA mids left among these 10 teams. And Pobelter versus Damonte, now, in a lot of situations, you might think, hey, being second best is great. You know what? A silver medal, that works out pretty well, right? But silver medal's not that great if it's a contest of 2. So being the best North American mid means you're also not the worst North American mid. And that's what I'm looking forward to see between these two. Which one's got better carry pants?
Also, I just always like people that strive for greatness, and number 2 is not an option no matter how many contestants there are. Be number 1. Go get it. All right, let's get onto the Rift pretty soon here. Actually, I might have baited myself.
No, we're onto the Rift. I do want to point out that Ruin is running Conqueror on the Volibear. Sometimes we do see a couple of different keystones, at least what I've seen on him. I've seen some people run Conqueror, some people running Press the Attack.
Yeah.
Generally, they are going into that tree, but it will be Conqueror this time around, so less burst in the lane with the early trades, but does have more sustained damage power. Pobelter also going to be running Summoner's Spellbook there on the mid lane TF. Same can be said for Damonte's Zoe.
Yeah, so let's dive into it a little bit more for the Keystones, because it is really interesting, you know, with the rework for Volibear. Everybody's trying to figure out what sort of things are actually optimal on him. And the Keystone choice, because he has so many possibilities, depends a lot on your matchup and on the game that you're looking at. Now, for me, I love Press the Attack because of the burst damage you're talking about. Your W will apply a stack to count towards your 3 hit. So it really is good for burst situations. But look, he's going up against Set. And it's very difficult to burst a Set, as everybody has now finally learned with the Haymaker Shield, with the regeneration on the champion. So Rune is thinking he's going to have a bit more of extended trades. And in extended trades, I always opt for the Conqueror Keystone, because you can stack it up the entire time. And then you get a lot of value in the longer fights out of the healing from it, which can allow the Volibear to actually stick with Set. As you're seeing here, in some situations where almost no other champions have been able to go versus Set early on, everyone's like, oh yeah, every matchup pretty much early on is advantage for Set because of the double hit passive where you have the 1-2 punch. He has a really good burst combination, but Volibear can stand his ground there, and one of the big reasons for the pick. Now, you can also go Phase Rush and Predator with Volibear for extra mobility, but that requires you to take advantage of that mobility in playmaking, and it's a lot less consistent.
Bottom side, Smoothie gets a little bit of an initiation down onto the Golden Guardians players, and followed up by some damage from Stixxay to give them a decent enough spot here in this lane. You can see Stixxay's guns. Currently has a Scythe pistol and the sniper rifle, but we're going to see Closer make his way down into the bottom lane now as well. Smoothie in some trouble here, having to flash away. Dodges out of the spear, down to 100 HP, but he will not be taken down. Good moves there from Closer, making sure he's getting involved nice and early.
And we saw this last time as well. Every time we have a Nidalee in game, I want to point out how efficient can they be with their ganks? He makes a 3-second, almost, even less than that, visit down to the bottom side because they've got crowd control here to set him up for success. So you show your face down there, you throw one spear, you got a summoner spell. Smoothie got half his health chunked out. No flash on the Nautilus now, so Golden Guardian's already opening up that advantage on the bottom side, and then Nidalee can get right back to power farming. So far, though, we should shout out because Wiggly is definitely one that everyone's going to have at a disadvantage in this matchup. Him versus Closer, probably lopsided, but he's done a good job now reverse clearing up to the top side scuttle because he saw where Closer was, and he's going to be able to remain even in farm. He'll get the top scuttle, then could even do his own ground.
Getting back to base now, getting those jungle items ready to go. Control ward also in the inventory to make sure he's continuing to help the team, not just with damage, but in keeping track of where everybody's going to be. Ruin continuing to win these trades against Hauntzer, nearly taking him down there. Just a little bit more would have been enough. But honestly, that flash just... Greed is a deadly sin, Kobe. He knows that his opponent still had that shield ready to go. He flashes to try to make it happen anyway. Summoner spell won't get him anything.
Yeah, because when you say that, I'm like, did he know? Is he keeping track of the abilities that are used here? Because it looked like Ruin got baited there. And that's a scenario where you're like, ooh, if he had press attack for burst damage, maybe he would surprise Hauntzer and be able to burst him before Hauntzer got off the Haymaker or something. That's super risky, but Ruin there now down the summoner spell, like you pointed out, I think completely baited and outsmarted there by Hauntzer, who, in a bad trade was able to get a summoner spell advantage. So yeah. I feel like Hauntzer still is providing a lot of these really good plays, and has kind of gone under the radar for a little bit with Closer and Damonte really taking the spotlight here for Golden Guardians and a lot of their recent successes.
And I want to make sure that we're honest about it, because I really want to not... I don't think it's as much credit to Hauntzer as it is just Ruin making a play that you would expect to see in solo queue, but not in professional play. I mean, yeah, good for Hauntzer saving the shield. Like, Hauntzer didn't waste his shield, but Ruin just seems way too bloodthirsty here. He is getting a better trade. Once again, he does win the trades really hard. We're seeing that. Hauntzer dragging him back underneath the turret, manages to make it almost even. Now with that regeneration, it will become so. But you can see Ruin really just flexing the muscles on this champion, showing how strong he is after those buffs. And it's so incredibly front-loaded, too. You see so much damage just come out, boom, half a second. You're taking a huge chunk of your HP.
And there's two things that you want to point out with that play as well. One of them is the build. He's rushed double Doran's blades, so there's a reason he is being so aggressive. Here, Nidalee gets caught.
Closer is done. First blood over to Pobelter. Wheeling and dealing them cards as Ruin has teleported down into the fight, looking to make it even more. Who he trying to walk away? But oh no, sir. Ruin says not today, and he will grab another here for his team. That is a 2-0 play for CLG.
He may have got baited on the top side, but he'll teleport down to the rest of the team and get CLG a big lead here. First of all, Pobelter is able to catch Closer along with the roam from Smoothie and Stixxay. Smoothie heads up, Nautilus is able to get the hook, and your Twisted Fate putting out fires already. I think Wiggly and Smoothie here, really big credit to them for comboing the Trundle Pillar into Nautilus Ultimate. I would also lay criticism at Closer for not flashing that. Nautilus Hook is definitely a flashable ability, as the animation windup is definitely telegraphs what he's going for there. So Closer was probably looking at a different area. Maybe he was looking at Pobelter coming from the mid lane rather than the Nautilus Trundle on the bottom side. He fails to flash out of it, and CLG actually start off with 2 kills for themselves.
Hauntzer goes in for the face breaker here, seeing what they can find. Manages to pull Ruin backwards there with the ulti. Nearly has him taken down, but Ruin will be alive only for a moment. The Haymaker mollywops that big old bear right upside the jaw. That is the first kill of the game here now for the Golden Guardians.
You know, that also means that since Ruin uses teleport down to the bottom side, he's not going to have his teleport to get back up to that big minion wave. So really good timing on that gank coordination between Hauntzer talking about the state of his minion wave to tell Closer this is the perfect time. If we get a kill here, not only do we kill Ruin, but we also deny him a big minion wave, and you can see that minion wave dying on the turret while CLG answer on the bottom half of the map, which becomes their strong side as Closer revealed himself top side and Wiggly is able to keep his focus on the objectives.
Wiggly getting that objective and also being able to hand this blue off to his own mid laner. Stealing away the enemy blue buff is one thing, but oftentimes you will have to smite it if they're contesting it. But being able to steal it and give it away to Pobelter, make sure he has that extra mana regeneration, feels even better, man.
Yeah, definitely does. Feels fine to me.
Oh yeah, if you're the jungler, you're like, oh, sorry, bro, I had to smite it. It was contested. You know how these things go. But in terms of actual health for the team, I would say you generally prefer to be able to give it to the mid laner. I'm with you, though. I'm with you. Now, top side, Hauntzer and Ruin. Both of these guys dead even in farm. Both rocking some shiny new footwear. Ninja Tabby's ready to go here to resist some of the auto attack damage. Both of them going to be putting out a ton of that. So we'll see which jungler decides to invest more up here, because as we've seen the entire time, it is just mostly Ruin owning the 1v1 matchup. If Wiggly comes up there, maybe they can make a dive happen. If Closer shows up, they've obviously already shown they can turn things around onto Ruin, but Wiggly seems to be heading into the Rift Herald pit for now. Maybe he can grab even more objectives. I can hear you, sir. I didn't hear you, but I was talking too, so if you were talking, we were talking over each other, and it sounded awful. But now we're back. It's synergy time, baby. Let's get right back on it. Rift Herald secured, CLG. All right, FBI farming up down here in the bottom side. Golden Guardians still only down about 400 gold. Honestly, not a terrible place to be in. Again, when we've talked about CLG, we talked about their problems in spring and what they wanted to fix coming into summer, and even just their short-term goals. It's better communication, it's better mindfulness in these skirmishes and small fights, it's better awareness of exactly where everybody is and how long it's going to take them to get there. So we'll see if any of those windows open up around those sorts of weaknesses in CLG for the Golden Guardians to punish. But this has been, honestly, one of the better starts we've seen out of them in a while. And now we got ourselves a fight breaking out. It's actually Huhi who's in trouble. It's CLG making the picks. Smoothie going into the stasis, keeping himself alive, preventing some of that poke damage coming through. Pobelter in danger. More skill shots flying out. They're trying to provide covering fire, trying to save Private Pobe. Can they do it? The spear will not find the mark, but Closer's still looking to find even more. The Penguin drops the dab, but here comes Damonte, looking for the last little bit of damage, but he will not find it here today, and CLG gets their man out alive. Stixxay had to use the flash there. Smoothie also having to use the flash. Stopwatch expended, so plenty of resources used by CLG. But when you use the resources and you accomplish what you aim to accomplish, you call that worth. Golden Guardians not able to find the return kill there. Now a 3-1 game. Hauntzer and Ruin continuing this 1v1. And what's that, dear viewers? It looks like things may have turned up here. Hauntzer getting the better of Ruin in the 1v1 at the start. Or is he? Ruin running him down, slamming into the ground. Here comes the reverse slam. They are just juggling each other back and forth, throwing them around on the flying trapeze. But nobody's dropping here today. The meatballs are just too big, and they cannot beat each other down 1v1. Hauntzer backs up, regenerates here a little bit. Got the health potion ticking away. Seeing if maybe he'll be able to regenerate enough to stay safe here in this lane. Shouldn't have any problem doing so. Set a resourceless champion, and you've got Volibear having to spam some mana. He's almost out of that, so he's just going to have to go back to base, refuel up on that a little bit. You can see him going for the Trinity Force. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have ever listened to anything I have ever said on this broadcast, you know that I love Trinity Forces. It is a Chad item for Chad builds. And that's what I want to see out of this Volibear, is him making some moves. CLG pushing down into the bottom lane now. 4-man push. Shelly is alive. Closer coming in, but what can he even do? Huhi under pressure. TP coming in. Another TP coming in. It's gonna be a bloodbath. Pobelter has already been shut down, and FBI's got the kill. CLG, they try to hard force this, but Golden Guardians is there with the response. CLG is not coordinated enough. They are not strong enough to make this one work. Golden Guardians not syncing up the CC properly there, but remember what I said earlier. I said Stixxay had to flash in that previous play. It was worth it then. It's not worth it now because of Aphelios. I don't care how overpowered he is in the late game. It's just as Kobe said. He's not going to be able to do that early on until he gets the items. With Aphelios down, that means Golden Guardians have the fight secured. They're going to grab the Cloud Drake, tie up that Drake count, stop CLG towards stacking towards a Soul as a win condition.
All right, gonna give it another try as far as talking here and see how if it goes out to stream or not, because I hear you fine, Flowers. Let's get into the replay. Pobelter goes super deep past the turret here, and a little bit too deep as Golden Guardians then have the collapse from Damonte, and the channel comes through. The rest of CLG on the other side with the tower can't do anything to help him out, and then it's just going to be a run for the hills here. Hauntzer, he's able to get the extra speed off the minions there and then just run straight at Stixxay. You see he flashes to a point so that he will have minions behind him to get the stun onto Stixxay with his E there, so very nicely done by Hauntzer to make a big play for the team once again, coming down with the set and hitting that flash.
Man, this game is 3-3. It's 23.3 to 23.5 thousand gold. It is such a close battle between these two teams, but CLG will manage to grab themselves that first turret of the game, get the bonus gold from that. Plates are now down. We're almost 15 minutes into the game. But honestly, I think this is closer than people were expecting, specifically because Closer on the Nidalee, he hasn't been off to this rocket of a start that you would hope that he could if he's playing a champion like this, if he's playing one of these early snowbally gank the lanes, keep the tempo up, but he still does have a CS lead over his opponent. He still does have a 2-level advantage, and I'm curious to see where he goes from here.
Yeah, it's still going to be a similar game plan for Golden Guardians. They still have a lot of poke tools that they can use and try and play off the synergies when they group up, try and come and siege down these targets. They're going to have a lot.
Kobe, are you good, brother? All right, here we go. Oh.
A lot of things to look out for, though. Like we talked in Champion Select, best counter.
I got about half the words you just said, so the words that I did get were Volibear and Nautilus. And when I hear Volibear and Nautilus, I think meatballs. And that's what CLG's got a lot of. Somebody grab the spaghetti because the side dish is prepared. This front line is going to be tanky. These guys will be able to properly protect Twisted Fate and Aphelios. And although Twisted Fate doesn't have the highest sustained damage in the world, obviously he's meant for picks. He's meant for throwing out a little bit of poke with those wild cards. It's Aphelios that will be the cannon for this team as we move further in. But right now it's the Golden Guardians on to that second Rift Herald of the match. We saw CLG get the first one, use it bottom lane in an attempted tier 1 turret play. However, it ended up getting punished when Golden Guardians was able to bring down appropriate manpower to stop it. Now Hauntzer's in a lot of trouble, using the ulti, trying to reposition himself and get away. Haymaker's going to provide the shield, but here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is Pobelter once again getting himself a kill and making things happen for CLG. Now, what can they do with the kill? Their opponents have just taken the Rift Herald, so there's no neutral objective to fight for on this map. However, since plates have been down for the last 2 minutes, CLG has the opportunity to push forward, Rift Herald or not. Golden Guardians does not feel comfortable trying to stop this. Smoothie's going in. The turret's still going to be kept alive, but it does not matter, and the chain CC is there. Tanner time, I don't think so. Stop the clocks, because CLG is making these plays happen. 5-3 now, and a 2,000 gold lead for a team that honestly came into this split and people were expecting them to have a lot of struggles. They really struggled in their first game, but it's been improvement in these most recent two, and that's been a lot of fun to see. Now I want to see, with a 2,000 gold lead, 17 minutes into the game, with the turret advantage, with the kill advantage, how is this mid-game going to play out? They have the comp for it. 3 meatballs and Aphelios seems good. Feels good, man. Now, can they execute? Can they continue to cleanly, not just perpetuate this lead, I should say, but build this up further to a point where then they're able to force fights on these remaining objectives, on that remaining tier 1 turret on the top side, push up into the enemy jungle, maneuver around wards, clear out vision, set up for picks, and control this game like you would expect from a higher tier team? That's the question I'm posing now for CLG. Because I said in week 1, this is a team with a ship with more holes in it than a block of Swiss cheese. You can kind of just put your hand anywhere and start plugging up a hole for all the problems. that were happening for CLG in spring. And I want to see how many of those holes have been fixed. How much water are we still taking on board this ship, boys? And for Golden Guardians, well, this is a team that, remember, everybody in spring was saying Golden Guardians are going to be 10th, usually with a Keck W after. That too. But Golden Guardians managed to make themselves... I don't know if you guys can hear Kobe on the screen, but I can hear it, so I'm trying to play around that. So what's actually happening here is Golden Guardians in a fight that's not going too well for him. Closer and Huhi losing half HP. And now we're going to see if Smoothie's able to get himself away from this one. Wiggly going to be taken nearly down now. Huhi under pressure. Ruin able to grab the kill. Damonte looking for a return kill onto Stixxay, who will be taken down to 1/4. Ruin trying to run away from the counterattack of FBI. Golden Guardian still with the opportunity to poke here. Smoothie very much in danger of death if he sticks around here any longer. It is 1 kill for the side of CLG. Nothing for the Golden Guardians. However, the health bars of CLG put them at a point where too many of their players have to reset or at least leave the immediate area, and it's Golden Guardians who get away with taking the neutral objectives afterwards. You trade one of your players for a Drake, I'll take that trade. I'll take that trade any day of the week. All right, let's reset. This is so much easier when I have another guy who has intelligent points to make. The worst part is, Kobe's the smart caster too. So normally he has all the super smart 5-head stuff to say in these downtimes, and I just talk fast when guys are dying on the screen. But now I've got no guys dying on the screen. I don't have my smart guy. So we're just gonna try to improvise and talk about whatever makes the most sense in the moment. Whatever makes the most sense in the moment to me right now is the fact that CLG is continuing to build these leads. It's not just stagnant, it's not just steady, it's going up and to the right. Exactly where you want to see that graph go. Now, for Golden Guardians, they got... Oh, I got my smart guy back! Yes! All right, tag him, bro. Uh-oh. Wait, they cannot still hear Kobe. So if you guys think it sounds like I'm talking to myself, I promise, Kobe was actually back, and he was talking to me, and it was really cool, and it was fun. And no, I am not just having a flashback segment during the show where I'm remembering the good times with Kobe as we hear Sarah McLachlan's I Will Remember You play in the background. This is real, I promise. It's real. But to you guys, it's apparently not, so it seems like I'm losing my mind. It has been about 4 months of quarantine, but I think it would take a little bit more than that before I went completely loco. So we're just going to hang out here, see what happens to this mid lane tier 1 turret. Stixxay firing off the ulti. Not going to find a connection on that one, but Golden Guardian still looking to push this one down. Stixxay half HP. Damonte making sure of that. CC coming down onto the Golden Guardians mid laner. Ruin looking for the flank. Not going to find the opportunity to land anything onto the Zoe. CLG will maintain this position here in the mid lane. 4 men strong. Turret at about 10%. And now... they do manage to take a tier 2 in the top lane. Pobelter, the one who wasn't here trying to defend this turret. Of course, eventually, they will lose that tier 1, but you take a tier 2 in exchange for it. You call that worth in the all chat every single day of the week. We've got emotes now here in the LCS. I would kind of like to start seeing some all chat banter to really round it out and bring professional play that much closer to the solo queue experience for the everyman and every woman. Every person who plays League of Legends knows about typing worth in the all chat and spamming emotes when you get something, even though it looks like your opponents thought they won. So that's kind of what I want to see. Bring it home. Show everybody exactly pro players are just like us, except 1,000 LP higher. Now, back to the state of the game. We've got 38.8 thousand gold for CLG. 35.9 thousand for the Golden Guardians. That 3,000 gold lead I was talking about 3 minutes ago, that's been pretty level moving forward. Now, 3,000 gold isn't anything that you're going to be writing your last will and testament about, oh no, the game's over, GG, it's done, we're doomed. However, still a pretty sizable lead here for Counter Logic Gaming as they look to make even more plays. Smoothie going forward, not going to find the dredge line onto FBI, but ladies and gentlemen, Pobelter coming around from the side. He is notorious, he is glorious, and Counter Logic Gaming is going deep behind enemy lines. Who he's tanking up, but he's going right back into the fight. These CLG meatballs cannot be squashed. Look at this dog pile. It is a double kill for Ruin, and they will clean up 4. They will take a turret, and they will march over to the Baron pit.
I'm here for the celebration. We're back again, Flowers. CLG. Looks like they were able to perfectly execute everything I said during that outage there. Just, really chef's kiss right there. Really well done.
Yes,
Honestly, though, able to combine the Volibear tower dive. Now they're going to be able to pick up the Baron and press forward. This is such a heartening revival for this CLG team. After starting summer with getting perfect game, talking about they had actually made a lot of improvements they felt during the off season, and now we're going to see some of that on stage in action here. Smoothie flashes in, gets the knock-up onto FBI, and Pobelter comes through with the flash on Twisted Fate to make sure they get their target. And then you followed up Volibear's ultimate. Best thing about the entire kit for this champion, turning off the tower, empowering them to fully dive through and destroy the Golden Guardians, because they already took out the DPS threat of the Ezreal. AD carry is no longer there. So yeah, I guess I'm back in time just for the CLG party.
Well, there's going to be another party going on, my friend. Even if you might have arrived late to the first one, the cool part about these guys is they seem to be throwing them daily, nightly, ever so rightly, and they are once again sieging up against Golden Guardians territory. Sleepy Trouble Bubble connects on to Stixxay, but he's got so many bodyguards, he will not be taken down. However, very low health bars coming out now onto Smoothie and Stixxay both. Smoothie down to 200 HP. Got to be careful here. Sidestepping away from True Shot Barrage. Staying alive. Another Trouble Bubble connecting now onto Wiggly. The follow-up is there. However, not enough to actually take him down. Again, the tankiness, so important for this CLG roster. And now Golden Guardians, who have been on the back foot, who are now down 7,000 gold, have managed to acquire themselves a game state where they are in a spot to be stronger for the brief moment they need to take that third Drake and put themselves at soul point. Really big stuff for them.
Yeah, they're able to run CLG off of their own base and chase them down with these skill shots, but it's still going to be such an uphill battle considering their team composition here for the Golden Guardians. CLG have a lot of momentum, and they really need to have it as their highest priority to defend against that possible soul point you're talking about for Golden Guardians coming up next. Yep. They still have another pretty much minute, 2 more minion waves to work with this Baron buff. Let's see if Golden Guardians can keep their inhibitor turret standing, because that's the main point of defense right now, trying to outlast this Baron buff. Not enough people in place to defend on this top side quite yet. See if they get the rotation over.
40 seconds remaining on Baron buff means we might get to see one more wave after this minion wave gets culled off. Golden Guardians doing everything they can to expedite that process. True Shot Barrage fired off of the minion wave just to clear it all out. 20 seconds remaining. That last wave going to crash up here with only a little bit of time left to make any use of it. Fortunately for the side of CLG, they only need one more attack of any kind onto that tier 3 turret to take it down. We could very easily see a fight here if Golden Guardians do not recognize this situation and back up. Red turret destroyed. You can see it on the screen. CLG walking up. So many engage mechanisms here with this Nautilus, with the ability of Pobelter to follow up. Dredge line finds its way onto Damonte. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. CLG looking to make the fight. No, they're not.
Yeah.
All right, but he's backing away. I revved the gas up, man. I had my foot on that accelerator. We were ready to go, and then the light never went off for red. So
that's all right.
CLG, back away.
You've been on all game long. You just got to keep it rolling there. Smoothie had a good engage. I mean, you saw what he did. He lined up his Q with the origin point for Damonte, knowing that Zoe pops right back there as soon as she Rs. So he had a good engage and gets the double knockup. But Golden Guardians are able to live another day, able to push them back after they take down one inhibitor. CLG don't have to take their feet off of that gas pedal because Pobelter, ready to go again, does have the Twisted Fate ultimate, and he's almost got a Death Cat complete. So he will annihilate turrets and champions alike, and CLG can press home with this lead. We're reaching the point that we talked about with the Aphelios and Trundle scaling, where Trundle can just shred somebody. Aphelios annihilates anyone who stands there. And you can see both Stixxay and Ruin are building Death Dance for themselves.
Oh,
Ruin,
baby.
Yeah, gonna have that frontline Volibear.
That's Chad Volibear, man. That's Trinity Force Death Dance. That's how you flex on him.
That's for sure what he's looking for this game. All right, let's see if the split 4-1 does work. Currently, they do have Ruin up through the mid lane here. So they're not going to bring him over to use his ult to turn off this tower. And it looks like they're just going to slowly wear away as he runs right up the mid lane. Twisted Fate ultimate, that tower's going to get 2-shot.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen, utilizing the power of Pobelter. Switching lanes, changing the game plan, making it difficult for Golden Guardians to be able to respond in time. Not only will they get the mid lane tier 3, now that bottom lane tier 2 is vulnerable, and the rest of the squad will continue pushing as a unit. FBI and Huhi here trying to stop them, but Stixxay steps up there, just gets a little bit of damage down onto FBI. Ruin and Pobelter, meanwhile, going to grab the second inhibitor from the Golden Guardians base. Only this one lane left standing intact. Can CLG close this out cleanly? That's what the fans want to see. They want to see these guys work together all the way till the end. No silly throws, no goofy fiestas, no question mark pings. Close it out clean. This is an 8,000 gold lead. This is a 2-inhibitor game. And this is Ruin and Hauntzer just getting into the 1v1 here in the mid lane. Hauntzer winning out because it's Ruin underneath the Nexus turrets. Hauntzer continues chasing, but as set, you don't have the greatest chase down power in the world. Not a lot of mobility and lockdown there after the initial ulti power has been expended. CLG continuing to push now in this bottom lane. Teleport coming in to make sure the minions don't die off. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Turret dive coming out. Turret about to drop down. And it's CLG all the way into the face of the Golden Guardians. The health bars are dropping rapidly, and Damonte is the first to die. Hauntzer has to run away. Remember, the set ulti is not available for this fight. Closer having to retreat from Ruin. He's low health, but it does not matter. FBI now locked down. This game is surely over. The bear is surely dead, and it is a triple kill for Stixxay. CLG. 14-4, maybe 15-4 if they can pad the stats a little bit. I don't even know if they care. I think at this point, you're just looking at Nexus. Pobelter flashing the "this is fine" Soraka. The Golden Guardians house burns down, and it's CLG with the match in their hand. They take this one, 14-5.
Arson! Oh no! Honestly, this is Counter Logic Gaming with a positive record already in week 2, Clayton. This is just leaps and bounds ahead of where they were in Spring Split. Completely upward trend here. They're able to proactively use aggressive play from Ruin on the Volley Bear, teleporting down to help out the rest of the team with those fights. Bit of a pincer movement when they had that really early catch onto Nidalee, onto Closer, where they had the Nautilus and Twisted Fate able to stun lock him and get that early kill. And then they split the map. They split push extremely well. Pobelter on the Twisted Fate, taking so many of those turrets. So really well executed game plan from them.
And it was so well executed by everyone on CLG. That's the thing that stands out to me. There was nobody on this team that you're like, okay, they're dragging his body across the finish line. It'll all work out eventually. He didn't have a great game, but hey, the rest of the team did. Everybody was doing what they needed to do. Ruin was winning there in the side lane. We saw Wiggly constantly be available on the Trundle to place down the pillars, make sure the fights happened where they needed to.
He didn't die once either. Perfect KDA for Wiggly.
Pobelter and Stixxay were there to provide the damage, make sure they bursted out the targets they needed to, and Smoothie, time after time, getting good initiations, using the dredge lines and the ultimates to make sure they were locking down anybody who dared step within a mile of this CLG composition. I just thought everybody played so well together. They all did exactly the job they needed to do to make sure they win this. And this looks like a team that is improving. Not too much faith now. We all know how CLG and Faith work together. But more faith than I previously had in CLG. They're building it game by game.
Yeah, honestly, seeing an underdog team like that get a big win and get a big win by every member stepping up, by every member contributing, I think is definitely one of the happier stories of the league because, man, they have been scrapping it for a while.
And now to hear from the victorious bottom laner, we have Pastry Time standing by with the Verizon post-game interview with Stixxay. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. Excellent job, by the way. That was certainly something rough for you, but you did a great job solo casting for a lot of it. I am here with Stixxay, though, with another CLG victory. It seems like people are sounding surprised, but how are you feeling? Because that looks like a very clean game.
Yeah, I mean, it feels pretty good. I think some of our biggest issues that we've had is kind of just translating like our progress in scrims to stage. We've been having a lot of like nerves and stuff like that going into stage, and I think today was like the first day of many, hopefully, that we were able to actually, pop off and do well on stage.
Is there anything in particular that's contributing to that, whether it's in-game, like the compositions maybe being a bit simpler, or out of game?
I think it's a mix. We kind of figured out our draft. We've been talking a lot about draft more as a team, having like late night meetings and stuff like that. On top of that, we're just trying to go into every game just really confident because, we know what we're capable of, we know what we can do. So we're just trying to show that in front of everyone.
Is there anything to kind of maybe off-season prep that was happening? Of course, there were no changes to the CLG roster. Do you think that helped kind of prepare and get everyone on the same page so that you could start off the summer stronger?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing that the offseason did was just kind of give everyone a mental reset and, just made everyone realize, let's not overthink things too much. Like, we know what we're doing. We've been pros for a while, so we know that we can do it.
For sure. And then it's been quite an interesting development just kind of watching the meta shifting back and forth in different roles, but it feels like bot lane hasn't changed too much. Are you happy with how the bot lane meta is currently sitting, or would you like things to maybe be shaken up a bit?
Well, for me, Aphelios is a champion that exists, so his kit just in general is like an issue in itself, because pretty much what happens is a lot of teams right now are trading, like Ezreal for Aphelios. That's a very common trade, but at the end of the day, one team has Aphelios and one team has Ezreal, right? So I think his kit is just too strong. I don't really know how to even nerf it or change it, but he is really OP.
Well, certainly performed on the champion today. We have also had kind of extended conversations about the lighter side of pro life, and emotes of something that have entered pro play recently. How have you found that experience? And more importantly, Stixxay, what is on your emote wheel?
Actually, I have the volley icon on my wheel today, but usually I have the dabbing penguin. So I was actually a bit disappointed. I used the emote in game, and I didn't have the dabbing penguin for today, so I have to fix that for today or for tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, certainly a check you'll have to make sure. And then final question for you. You do have another game this weekend. Tomorrow you'll play your old teammate Aphromoo. Are you looking forward to playing out your old support?
Yeah, I think Dig's a team that you can never sleep on. They have a lot of experience on their team, and I think all their players are good. So hopefully it should be a good match tomorrow.
All right, well, thank you so much, and congratulations on the win today. We're stepping away, but on the other side, the State Farm Analyst Desk breaks down the results of Game 1.
Whole lot of hell out here. Come on, Sentinel. Yeehaw! Used to hunt monsters. Now, I still hunt monsters. Whoa, partner. You ain't going nowhere.
None can do what I do.
Scurry, weakling.
These blades were whetted on the bones of tyrants.
Welcome back to the LCS Dome, powered by Alienware, where we just caught game number 1 of Friday Night League. But before we end up breaking down the very important victory for CLG, there is another important matter, which is the fact that y'all suck at making predictions, and no one listened to the Prophet. And Mark, you specifically wanted to call out that you didn't want the Prophet to have to come back, but you summoned him yourself.
I even said, like he would predict CLG. I acknowledged it. I just didn't think he'd be right again. It's just like, how many times can Crumbs be right before he's wrong when he's usually wrong so much? I don't understand it.
But he's the only one to be this right at this point. But I'm going to give y'all another chance to be right in your own right. So, Golden Glue, first things first. As far as this matchup goes, you were saying in our little conversation before that you feel some of this was determined just from the draft?
Yeah, when I looked at the team comps, it kind of seemed to me that it's going to be really hard to play this poke comp of Zoe, Nidalee, Ezreal when CLG had just so much hard engage. Volibear provides really good engage. They have Nautilus and Twisted Fate porting in with gold cards. I kind of thought, unless Golden Guardian just snowballed lane phase, that it's going to be really hard to win just any team fight.
Yeah, this is basically a situation where you're playing kind of a 4-1 composition compared to a 1-3-1 who has a lot of hard engage. So before the poke comp could even get off, they were just getting hard engaged on. And yeah, most of the time you see a poke comp, you're like, these guys should get an early lead. And they were close to until they had an invade that just went a little bit wrong, and CLG was able to capitalize and pick up 2 kills.
Well, circling back to that then, Prawley, as far as that early jungle performance, we mentioned that Wiggly and Closer were 2 people that we were needing to watch. And why was that so important here in this clip?
Yeah, so Closer did this invade at 4 minutes and was successful, so I think this time he got a little complacent and wasn't flashing the hook or anything like that, and what ended up happening is Volibear actually gets a TP advantage from top lane as well, so this invade, which should be just free chickens and your jungler gets ahead, turns into 2 kills for CLG, and then this is the start of CLG actually controlling the map, because TF gets a kill, he gets lane pressure after that, and then Nidalee is not as ahead as she needed to be.
Yeah, I think as soon as Nidalee gets behind and you're playing versus Twisted Fate, it's just so easy for Twisted Fate to port anywhere where Nidalee is, and you can just kill her so easily. And it's kind of prevented Closer from being able to invade more, just because he had that constant threat of just TF porting on him with a gold card.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, this impacted the way that other players played in the game. You mentioned, Prawley, that the Volibear coming from Ruin was important. So, Mark, why was this something that we had to look out for on the side of CLG?
Well, first off, I just want to give a massive shout out to Ruin for actually playing the Volibear as soon as he's, buffed up, and I think it's a super strong pick. It should become higher priority. It's strong into a lot of the melee matchups that you see. He had lane control over Sett the entire time, and he kind of blew his flash getting over aggressive, but he absolutely took over the game in a lot of the team fights and team situations, and you saw that one in the TP play there. Volibear brings so much compared to a lot of Juggernauts, which are just damage. He does have a lot of damage, but he also has the ability to turn off turrets. He gets a lot of health from his ultimate. He has good CC to set up and try and be this frontline engage. And so when you see this play going on, it starts, as this chase down's going on, and Volibear is able to go and make sure that they can continue chasing. Okay, we got 1 pick. Well, we're about to get 2 more because I just turned the turret off for, at this point, 4 seconds at rank, I believe he's like 14-ish. So he's got the rank 2 ultimate, and they're able to take this dive, have the turret off the entire time. It's one of the most powerful things about Volibear, as well as just, not really having too many downsides throughout the game. And I expect to see it become a lot more higher priority champion. And we're talking about all the draft advantages CLG had. This was another one for me in the top lane.
Probably, do you feel that this has opened up as far as maybe some future players that we could see bringing this pick to the table? CLG setting this in motion a bit?
Yeah, definitely watching the Volibear laning phase, it does seem a lot stronger than I thought it would be. And then especially, yeah, his turret taking off is, we haven't seen it get abused that much. We did see it in that last clip. But the fact that that's just like an added power dynamic to it makes a champion like really hard to predict how you're going to actually defend against it. And you saw that last clip as well, though. When he TP'd in, the speed he gets from his Q, like he can actually gap close a lot better than old Volibear, because he has like technically 2 gap closers now compared to Volibear's old one. So it's not a super one-dimensional champion that you expected. It's actually like a lot harder to play against now.
Well, yeah, a lot of people also don't know that if you stun Volibear while he's running at you, it just resets the cooldown. So it's actually really hard to stop him from getting on top of you.
Regardless, though, of what CLG ended up bringing to the table, it's very fair to say that these expectations do not align with what people were expecting after getting perfect gamed to start off the LCS for them. Golden Glue, for CLG, looking at it, all the games they've had so far, all 3 of them, what do you make of this? What should we be taking as the audience, considering the drastic differences in performances?
I would say that my biggest takeaway is CLG, I think they had the dropped advantage and they executed on it. They had a good team comp around a lot of utility, a lot of CC with Aphelios as a carry, and they executed well on it. I don't think it's too much of a takeaway to take for Golden Guardians. I think their draft was a little bit harder to play when you're a full poke comp first engage. So I guess I was just impressed with how well CLG kind of felt like they were playing as a unit. It felt like most of their plays were team plays, and they really did a good job of incorporating everyone into them. So yeah, I was impressed.
Well, props to CLG for perhaps reinvigorating the spirit of some of their fans out there. As far as what we have to come, TSM and Immortals will be taking to the Rift, so you don't want to miss any of that here on Friday Night League.
Gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? Get ready, go. Get ready. Get ready. This be the green light, go. Tires burn the pavement. People wanna know when Mace, Posse, and Dave went. Still here, still in your ear with a style so hot, you'll see where all the sun rays went. Legs on the head, all being moved in a frenzy. The blends be all the right cred, meaning credential. Best of both worlds, when we rockin' over pearls and instrumental. Are you ready? Set, jump to the rhythm as hard as you can go. Steady, to the letter rock, turn it up, we giving a show. But can you rock it like rocket? What you talking about? Space out your mind. Can you rock it like rocket? Close in the counter. Jump to the rhythm as hard as you can go. Steady, to the letter rock.
Hello and welcome everyone to the LCS Summer Split. I am Freak. Kobe, are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome back to Friday Night League. I'm Captain Flowers. I'm not Freak, so I'm not going to bait Kobe into doing the line from the promotional video like Freak likes to do. I will spare you that one. But right now, we are getting ready for our second game of the night. We got TSM going up against Immortals in a game where a couple former Academy junglers are looking to find themselves a groove in a jungle-focused meta.
Yeah, Potluck versus Spica, both of them brought up to the main teams. There was a lot of controversy, especially when Potluck got moved up. You know, benching Xmithie is a big move for Immortals. Obviously, some internal stuff has gone on. But honestly, Potluck performed one of the best, if not the best player on. And speaking of Spica, I know that the TSM teammates are actually very happy with his play so far. I know that TSM jungle is a very treacherous position to be in with a lot of demands and a lot of pressure. But aside from the Kayn game, I thought he handled his Trundle game extremely well. It is just that everybody's going to point to the memes. The Kayn game, TSM, that was their big blunder. Versus Team Liquid, a lot was on the line. You know, they really wanted to win that one, but they didn't get the Kayn transform until 23 minutes in. Guess what? TSM actually have the fastest average game time after week one of all LCS teams at just over 25 minutes. So if you put those two stats together, they ended the game 2 minutes after Kayn transformed. And that was the end of that story. Immortals, though, they started out 0-2, so they have a bigger hole to dig themselves out of. And as we know, Doublelift gave a very emotional and empowered kind of speech after their victory, how he hates losing. He's going to do everything in his power to get TSM back to the top. Currently, he's going to be facing 2 AD carry bans, your favorite Flowers. Varus always there on the far right because Red Sight's duty is to ban Varus.
Where he lives,
not
man,
letting
his
it
address.
over. And
First spot.
You see this. So TSM actually opt to hand Immortals the Ezreal, which is our other kind of top tier. But TSM have also put some value on the Misfortune. I would say that is probably my next nomination for TSM to go with. I like it.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Embrace the memes. Make them your own. The Kayn game, that one's going to go down in history. I mean, you got to fight early with it to touch enemy champions and get your orbs. Obviously, it helps if you have laners on your team that can help you with that goal. It's not going to be the Misfortune. The Kai'Sa does have a new build. I love the Hail of Blades, Muramana. Kai'Sa got a little small AD buffs, but the Hail of Blades gives her this burst damage. You can apply Plasma really quick, and with the changes to Hail of Blades, you actually don't even have to get out of combat to reset it. So it does work quite well with Kai'Sa now.
And like we saw last game, this draft resembling that very heavily, it's 80 carry into 80 carry plus set into Trundle. So very similar first 4 picks, and now the Ornn locked in for Immortals to be that big beefy front line.
Yep, already. Immortals saying, you are going to have to 5-on-5 beat us this way because Trundle Ornn is one of the best frontline combinations in the entire game. Ornn with a super long range engage Trundle pillars even helping him set those up, and they can shred your enemy frontliner while Ornn makes everybody on the team rich. Post level 13, obviously upgrading a lot of items. Meanwhile, TSM opting for speed. I really do like these combinations. Rakan, one of the longest range engagers, and Biofrost. You want Biofrost to have a champion where he has the agency to make big plays for your team. Rakan is that in spades, and Doublelift has the range to capitalize on them with Killer Instinct for Kai'Sa. So TSM investing a lot more in playmaking, and Immortals investing a lot more in beef, brute force, straight up 5v5.
And with TSM having picked their support and Immortals not having done that in the first 3 picks, it means we have a little bit of imbalance in the draft as to which roles are going to be prioritized for bans here in the second phase. It's Leona banned out by TSM. Traditionally, you will see her picked into Rakan a lot as a counter matchup. They don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
For Immortals, they've got their jungler and TSM don't. So why not ban some of the more pain-in-the-butt matchups for Trundle? Get rid of the Kindred. She's able to kite around him so well, dance around the pillars, shut that down, and make it so things go a little bit more favorable for the Troll in the jungle.
Now, I'm surprised that TSM didn't follow that up with the Thresh ban. I really do like a well-played Thresh in Rakan as well. Nautilus is another option. I think those are probably 2 of the main ones Immortals are probably looking at into that bottom lane. Meanwhile, they're going to throw another ban at the mid lane here, taking out some late-game possible carry from Bjergsen, his Azir.
Stopping some of that incredible AP consistent damage if he's allowed to scale up will make it easier for Ornn to just infinitely tank in the late game if the game gets to that point. But like you already said, TSM's got some real fast game times here so far. Let's see what they end up wanting to draft here. Still need to see a mid laner, still need to see a jungler.
Yeah!
Oh, baby!
Okay,
It's
so
the Fiddler.
let me say, I am a huge fan of Jungle Fiddlesticks. It's really good right now for solo queue. The pros, I know, have been playing a lot of solo lane full tank Fiddlesticks. We actually talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the day, so big brain little preview.
And you said you thought we weren't going to see it yet. You said that.
I did. I covered my bases here. I don't want to overextend, but I do have a feeling that this is going to be the Bjergsen Aftershock Frozen Heart Spirit Visions tank Fiddlesticks. It's extremely good for AoE for your team fight. It's so deceptive in how difficult it is to kill, and still brings all of the crowd control and AoE to those fights. Very good at skirmishing as well, but this also could be the jungle. So that's why I like TSM is making use of the flexible nature of this pick. They can easily have Spica play it because Trundle is not an Olaf. Trundle is not going to punish the Fiddlesticks that hard. Oh, yes, they lock it in. It is the jungle Fiddlesticks. I just recorded a video on double drain. Oh, they haven't locked the Cassidy in. Getting ahead of myself.
Right, yeah. I know you're excited. You're like, oh man, this is it. This is it. But it looks like it might not be. They're thinking about it. They're thinking about it, man. Which one's it going to be?
Well,
it is mid lane Fiddles.
I know for a fact Bjergsen was playing the solo lane full tank Fiddle in solo queue, so it looks like it probably will be him on it. I was really hoping for the jungle look because there's a lot of cool nuances, but I guess you'll have to wait for the video now. Anyway, back to the overall team compositions because we got way too caught up in that excitement. Immortals, they just continued down the same game plan. You can tell in the first 3 picks, they want to go very standard front to back. They even put a Braum there to make it the beefiest of front lines.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of disengage there, but Orianna, of course, going to try and scale to have those shockwaves to make room for Altec. I think this draft on the TSM side actually gives them quite a lot of possibilities in the early game. Since they did lock in the Lee Sin, Lee Sin's advantage over Trundle is the mobility that he has just in spades over Trundle. There's so many opportunities for Lee Sin to make plays on lanes and to kind of ignore a lot of what Trundle's trying to do as he tries to run after you and catch up and bite you.
Just jump away.
Excited to get into it. We are going to have the full tank Aftershock Fiddlesticks coming from the solo lane. Now, on live, it was taken down a little bit in power because they reduced the damage of your W drain to minions by 10%, but it's still higher than what it was previously.
Yep, and for all players who may not be super familiar with sort of how Fiddlesticks changed, I think one of the biggest things that catches people off guard playing against this champion now is people remember Fiddlesticks' drain as walk out of it because obviously that's the natural counter, but so much of the damage is in there if you stay towards the very end and have it proc at the end for that max HP bonus.
Yeah, you get some burst at the end. Nice little kick.
It bursts at the end. So even if you can only manage to walk out of the last half second, you need to do it, as Soaz could be in some trouble here. Walking away from the entirety of TSM, they will not be able to close the gap and actually CC him. Doublelift just grabs some extra damage. Soaz gives him the emote, says, yes, sure, okay, see ya. And he'll go back to base in plenty of time. This isn't going to have any effect on the lane. There is no...
I really like this. Soaz is one of the most veteran players that you can even have on a League of Legends team. He has been playing since the beginning of competitive League of Legends Season 1, and he recognizes there's no crowd control. Even though Doublelift has an inside track on me on the top side, I will just run straight through the Kai'Sa. So good job for Soaz, just keeps a level head, and he's able to walk his way out of that one. Good attempt from TSM to get that pincer move and try and get a summoner or something, but because they don't have the best level 1 champions for pulling it off, they don't have the crowd control. Soaz is able to shrug it off. I will say
you can actually see a little bit of what we were talking about with the Fiddlesticks little burst at the end of the drain there as he was farming up in the mid lane. Even onto the minions, it just ticked down a little bit and then poof, right there at the end hits you a little bit harder as Spica might just invade Potluck here at level 2, but Potluck is aware that Spica's making his way in here.
Big brain.
Oh,
he's going to get the bite. If Lee Sin walks right up to you, then it's such a big advantage for the Trundle, but the extra ward, Spica is not going to just jump right into it. And he's got a pushing top lane since he has the set into Ornn matchup. That is full priority towards the set. And meanwhile, Fiddlesticks, that was the effigy flash, so everybody's going to freak out when they start seeing a lot of flash animations.
Fiddle flashes, yeah.
Yeah, your ward turns into the effigies, of course, that will flash and try and make your opponents freak out. But again, you just try and shove the wave. Even though on live the damage got taken down to minions a little bit, it's still really potent in doing it. And I just wanted to tack on your point about the burst at the end for the W. It's very important that you finish the drain, because not only is the burst damage there, but it refunds 60% of the cooldown. Here's Spica, level 3, looking at the dive.
This could be really good or really bad, depending on how clean they play it. Let's see, it's a 3-man dive, Soaz with a 3-man knockup. Looking to survive this one if he can, but the Haymaker is there. Broken Blade will take one last turret shot on the way out, and TSM, they do it right, and they get the first blood.
And you see how calm they are. They just group up, they wait for the knockup before starting it out. Now, if Broken Blade doesn't tank, they can have someone else tank. Bjergsen's going to do the tanking.
Bjergsen tanking up, flashing away. Can't go back underneath the turret now. A little bit more damage will do it. Spica will fall here. So it is a 1-for-1 trade. However, Soaz now dead twice. Teleport expended. Minions being lost. Look, another wave just colliding with this tier 1 turret, ready to die for nothing.
Exactly.
TSM happy to take that trade.
Exactly, Flowers. The reason they're willing to recommit to that dive is because now without the teleport, Soaz loses out on so much extra experience. It does mean their bottom side is very weak. Everybody else has been top side for so long.
4-man dive coming in, but Potluck is immediately tanking the turret. The minions were not there yet, so he has to dip out incredibly quickly, but not so quickly that they don't accomplish the mission. Immortals will grab the kill onto Doublelift. Biofrost barely keeping himself alive there. And remember, Doublelift is not playing a teleport AD carry. He has heal on the Kai'Sa, so this is a lot of minions that he'll be missing out on now as well.
Yeah, his only tiny saving grace is the cannon minion does tank a lot of turret shots, so actually he's probably not even going to get back in the experience range for any of these, even with the kind of added boosts where now you get even more speed coming out of the fountain for early deaths. Here's another look. I believe this is the first time around. Yeah, this is going to be the first one. Again, the patience I was talking about where TSM group up around Soaz, they don't start the dive. You see nobody's tanking the tower, and they just wait out the knockup. So really well done. They don't have to get anybody in danger at all for that one. And then as soon as they see the teleport, of course, it's a repeat dive to try and deny some of those minions. But because Immortals answered back so quickly on the bottom side, Immortals are not out of it. They still have life left in them, and the kill went over to Aka in the mid lane on the Orianna. So maybe he'll be able to do a little bit of extra roaming around from the mid lane, because it's very hard to push a Fiddlesticks out of lane. Part of the reason pros have started playing it full tank Fiddlesticks in a solo lane in solo queues because it has so much sustain. It's similar to what people used to have with old Vladimir solo lanes, where you try and sustain a whole bunch, you spam your W on Fiddlesticks, a lot of the harassment gets shrugged off, and you get to push the waves over and over. Dragon, though, will also be picked up by Potluck since they've invested a lot more in the bottom half of the map, and TSM investing a lot topside.
Right, Potluck not going to be contested for this one at all. Back up in the top lane, it is a 20 farm advantage for Broken Blade over Soaz as well. As bottom side, the 2v2, that doesn't look like it'll probably go too much further. Gate wants to back away before Doublelift is able to get that plasma proc onto him. Does manage to just barely avoid that one. Would have required one more hit there to really set it off. Spica shows up bottom side. He is not seen by the Immortals players. If Gate and Altec get a little bit too hyphy here, if they try to engage, Spica is ready. He's Alcove Gaming right now, trying to set this one up, trying to hide. Soaz looking for the solo kill onto Broken Blade. He's level 6. Broken Blade is not. One more auto attack would do it, but Broken Blade still having the Haymaker ready to go. Soaz will not be baited underneath the turret so easily. Gate and Altec stepping forward. Oh, both junglers are here now. Immortals knows that TSM has to be planning something.
Who's ganking who, Flowers?
Who's actually the 5-head and who is the 3-head in this situation? We will see.
Wine glass.
allowing their opponents to push up, and now here it goes. TP's also coming in. It's Broken Blade looking to join the fight as Altec's taken very low, taken down over the top rope, and there goes Gate 2. Broken Blade guarantees it, and TSM makes the play.
Spica had so much patience and waited there in the alcove for so long. The observers had time to go up and watch the Soaz Broken Blade almost kill under the tower, fight down to 10% HP, then still get back in time for the second half of our alcove gaming experience. As Potluck came down, he even got bored to channel his full recall, left the scene, and then that's when TSM strike the perfect opportunity, using their Broken Blade teleport advantage to turn around the bottom side and get them some kills. Now, Broken Blade's the one that actually cashed in on a lot of these kills from the tower dive, from the bottom lane thing here. So the set is going to be a very big part of where TSM want to make plays. And him with no summer spells right now is having to play weak side and give pressure over, concede it to Gate and Altec.
And you talked in the previous game about Set and how strong he is in those trading patterns. We'll only see that get worse as things go further ahead with him building these leads. Here's a replay one more time.
Yeah, and I like they start the replay by saying just when Immortals feel confident, okay, we've got the wave pushed in, don't think the gank is actually coming from Spica, but little do they know, Spica's been in that alcove for a good few minutes.
Long time.
Already. In the end, back to business as usual for Immortals, though, and they're cashing in on several turret plates.
Lots of money going into the Immortals' pockets here. They are down about 1,000 gold, so they need to catch up somehow. And turret money should do a good job at helping alleviate some of that. But on the other side, it's TSM who have rotated their bottom lane into the top side of the map. Make sure they have control over this now. They already know they can't go for the Drake because it was previously secured by Immortals, so they go for Rift Herald instead. And with Biofrost and Doublelift up here, this will be the opportunity to potentially use Shelly, get some of that plate money. Remember, the ideal Shelly usage is to kill the last couple of plates instead of the early ones because they're more resistant. Now let's see if Aka will be over here in time to stop this blue steal. I don't believe so. Spica should be able to clean this one up nice and easy before Potluck arrives. Yes, sir. And Gate will look to sweep away some vision as Aka drops the shockwave on himself, trying to get away. Nice pillar coming down. Spica could be in some trouble here. Kicks Aka away, but able to follow after and flash back over the wall to safety. Winter's Bite finds it, but the rest of the damage not quite there. Soaz will not hit the target with the ram, but now he's able to find some damage onto Biofrost, who gets himself away with a grand exit. Bjergsen now being focused. CC coming down, damage going through. Immortals not finding what they need, and Bjergsen will turn it right back around with the Crow Storm. TSM will take down the Immortals mid laner. They will steal the Immortals blue buff, and they will all walk away.
that turned from Spica kicking him over into the wolves, only to kill him in the wolf pit, and then get flashing right back over the wall, over to the blast cone, and having a successful TSM saving Private Spica after his deep mission into enemy territory to take down Aka. Then you thought it was going to be another saving mission. They've got to save Bilefrost out of there, but he, on another highly mobile champion, like we talked about in Champ Select, TSM investing so highly in mobility and playmaking for their champions, that little section of skirmish right there really does show those strengths, where Lee Sin and Rakan both able to get out, not allow the kill to go over, not allow those triumph heals to go over or the extra experience to the enemy team, and TSM actually make a successful mission of killing Aka in the IMT jungle and exiting. They still have the Rift Herald, but Dragon spawning now means it's going to need a 5-person reset. Teleport's available for Soaz, but it would be a very late setup for Immortals.
Also important to note, not all of the ultimates are available again. We're still very early into the game. It's level 1 ultimates for everyone in the game. So considering that last fight wasn't too long ago, you still don't have a Crowstorm available. There's still no Ornhorn. Subjugate just about now ready to come off of cooldown. So neither team really wanting to fight for that one, and TSM recognizing they have the advantage, they have the priority, they're able to secure it for themselves. And we're on to my favorite rift. The Therapy Dragon has arrived. The Ocean Soul is the name of the game, and not only is it relaxing to look at, but it makes everybody want to fight for every dragon, because nobody wants to lose an Ocean Soul.
Honestly, I feel calmer already. I feel more relaxed.
I know.
How about you?
This is a good vibe, because Friday Night League is supposed to have, we're just chilling, having a good time, right? It's more relaxed. It's more of just kicking back with your buddies on the couch, sharing a Bud Light, watching the games. And now we've got the right riff for it.
Very true. I want to talk about Bjergsen again, revisiting the tank Fiddlesticks build, because it might surprise people a little bit. We're going to get some action on the bottom side first, though. We'll let them play. Spica is heading down for a possible dive.
Oh, he is not waiting around in that brush. Sometimes you'll see the junglers do that, but this time around, patience is not a virtue here. Instead, he's looking to just straight up go in. Altec in some trouble. The quickness will find him. The damage goes through. And ladies and gentlemen, Bjergsen has made his appearance. TSM now trying to get out. Last turret shot will not find its way onto Bjergsen, but Soaz has arrived to bottom lane. Still focusing that enemy mid laner, still looking for the damage. The drain keeping Bjergsen alive, but it is not enough. The damage from Aka will secure the return kill. Still a 2-for-1 in TSM's favor.
If Aka didn't have his Shockwave cooldown right now, I think TSM 100% should have fought that 4v3 on Bjergsen's body, because one of the big things about Fiddlesticks, tank Fiddlesticks build, is you can last so long and bait your opponents by draining on low life like that, since he is building straight into that Spirit Visage with the extra magic resist and cooldown reduction. But obviously the threat of Aka's Shockwave is what caused the rest of TSM to pull off of that. Regardless, still a very successful dive for TSM. Spica, kicks Altec over, applies the Plasma, allowing Doublelift to use a ultimate to take him down. And with this Red Smite, maybe Spica's even gonna chase Soaz off of his Rift Herald. Get away from Shelly.
She made it! With 53 HP left, she makes it to the turret. She manages to grab the plates for the team, just 20 seconds shy of those plates disappearing forever. Let's take another look at the play and the dive as it happened bottom lane.
So, again, look at the mini-map here. TSM know that they've got an extra 10 seconds to pull this play off. Spica gets in line for the double kick there. Altec gets kicked over. Doublelift can then ult him. If you looked at the middle of your screen, Bjergsen got his ult with Fiddlesticks onto nobody. However, it gets him over the wall. He gets his fear off, which procs his Aftershock, allowing him to tank that turret, along with the extra early tank items. And then that's that moment I was talking about where if there was no Shockwave, they probably could have turned that. But they already made the call for Spica to start recalling. Doublelift and Bilefrost both backing up, with just Doublelift kind of thinking about fighting on Bjergsen's body as he made a last stand with the drain. That can definitely be a possibility for baiting a lot of opponents, though.
There's a worse thing to do than err on the side of caution. You don't want to end up taking a fight that loses you 3 guys to a Shockwave, as Spica and Biofrost dashing away together. Biofrost with the grand entrance as an exit, Spica dashing to the ward at the same time almost made it look like he was dashing to Biofrost as Biofrost moved. It almost looked super coordinated, as Spica could now be in some trouble. Biofrost using the quickness to maybe turn things back around, able to find the charm onto everybody from the side of Immortals. And Altec is already out of this one, Kobe. Gate's about to follow. Flash over the wall just a little bit too early means the Resonating Strike will follow his movement, and it's 2 dead on the side of Immortals. TSM are just playing this game better. They are playing it more coordinated.
Yeah, we got a front row seat to some of the Hail of Blades Kaisa burst in that one as well. And I think we're also seeing why we've been hearing the TSM teammates are very happy with Spica in the current state. I think he's creating a lot of action for the team with this Lee Sin. He's playing very confidently, and the rest of the team are playing around and off of his plays quite well. Something that people are not really ever expecting with TSM junglers, because they've gone through so many and they have this kind of meme of a reputation. But this is definitely a very proactive look and creating a lot of positives for TSM. They've got a huge early gold lead now. He's not just giving up on objectives either. He's creating plays, and then gets Rift-Hailed number 2 for the team. This does mean that Immortals will get one of those Ocean Drakes, though.
Or will TSM be there in time to contest this? You can see them rotating down, and Immortals actually focusing on the tier 1 turret first. So as has the Demolish proc, which will secure that one instantly now for the side of Immortals, their first turret of the game. TSM still with a 4,000 gold lead, 16 minutes in. That is an incredibly large gold difference for this point in the game, and it means that Immortals will have to be very careful as to which fights they want to take part in. You only get a couple more mistakes until the game gets to the point where you're not reasonably able to take control back, and TSM will grab this Drake for themselves. Immortals knows, hey, this is only the second one. There's no reason to go in and die for this. It's not really that big of a prize. TSM will take it and proceed on to that second of 4 towards that ever so sought after Ocean Soul.
And Flowers, this is an Ocean Soul map where TSM already have a tank Fiddlesticks. Now, big thing about tank Fiddlesticks, you get to rush the tank item of your opponent's damage type, and we already mentioned that it was going to be obviously Spirit Vicious this time around for Bjergsen. That Spirit Vicious is not only going to make him so ridiculously hard to kill when he's draining with W, that it might force Immortals to use a CC ability on Bjergsen just to stop that, but it also amplifies healing from all sources, including Ocean Drakes, including Ocean Soul, if they get to that point. And we finally are entering the stage where you really get to see the full power of the solo lane tank Fiddlesticks, because the extra experience you get being in solo lane. Bjergsen already level 11, you get your rank 2 ultimate, huge base damages there. So even though you're super tanky with Spirit Visage and moving towards a Frozen Heart for himself to reduce attack speed of the opponents, he still brings the big AoE, silence with the E, as well as possible AoE fears if TSM can control vision. And that is the key to this champion, especially in coordinated play. Creating these pockets of Fog of War to allow Fiddlesticks to get these free fears of using abilities from outside of enemy vision. If you're out of combat for 2.5 seconds, you get a fear on any damaging ability, not just your Q.
Also worth noting, there is no viable source of Grievous Wounds to shut down Fiddlesticks' healing right now. Bramble Vest will never be propped.
1v3!
Bjergsen is in a spot where he may just be taken down here. The collapse is there. The drain, he attempts to keep himself alive. Spica's there in time to protect him from the Winter's Bite, and Spica now looking to make the plays. Aka's going to be kicked back. The damage follow-up comes through, and Doublet is able to find the kill. Aka in full retreat, but the CC will chase after him oh so easily. Potluck probably going to be going down next. It's Broken Blade underneath the turret, tanking everything up. The Haymaker makes sure of it, and TSM find 3 for nothing. You do not simply initiate onto tank Fiddlesticks. So as now, likely gonna fall down to, does manage to get himself away. Spica too low to take that Resonating Strike, and TSM find more opportunities.
Flowers, it's like a start of one of those bad bar jokes where they're like, all right, well, a tank Fiddlesticks walks his way into 3 members of Immortals. What happens? Well,
nothing. They can't kill him.
Turns out, that's actually one of the most vulnerable positions that you'll see a Fiddlesticks at is literally just walking up into Fog of War. This is a very old replay, actually, where we saw the top side burst damage. It was Doublelift with the Hellblades Kai'Sa, Spica and Bifrost working well in tandem to turn that around and get the pick for the team, getting 2 kills for themselves. When we were talking about, oh my god, this TSM, they're playing so proactively. Currently, coming off of week 1, TSM has the fastest average game time of all LCS teams, and it looks like this one they're pushing ahead at a very quick pace. But back to the memes. The
most important part
of the full tank Fiddlesticks. That's as vulnerable as he gets. You know, just walking up into a brush like melee range of 3 members. They weren't all carry members of Immortals, but Immortals only have 2 carry members. Everybody else is tank line, so they don't have a lot of DPS that's ever going to be able to take him down. And you already mentioned they also don't have healing reduction, no grievous wounds. So Bjergsen, he pops his aftershock with the fear. He walked away. He did have to get the heal from Doublelift, but they got him out alive.
I mean, technically, Immortals has a Grievous Wounds. Ornn has a Bramble Vest. But I think any world where Fiddles is walking up and slapping Ornn with a 30 damage auto attack is pretty troll. So we're not really ever going to see that, as Doublelift and Bjergsen, they show So as exactly how tanky he is. Spoiler alert, it's not very tanky. As these two are able to work together. You're talking about only having 2 carries. Well, sometimes 2 carries is enough to completely melt the front line when they're both this strong. Bjergsen and Doublelift's combined damage, absolutely incredible 21 minutes into this game.
Yep, we get to see the offensive prowess still there. And again, another one of these highlighting the synergies of TSM. Bjergsen goes in, applies some plasma for Doublelift, and poof! There goes the Ornn. This is now Doublelift with his fully transformed Muramana, Nashor's Tooth, Rageblade, triple item power spike. It is incredibly scary, and again, with the Halo Blades, has burst damage to take down either Eika or Altek if they get tagged with Plasma, which is easy to do because Lee Sin kicking somebody through the team, Fiddlesticks ulting over a wall, Rakan jumping to Lee Sin and then into the back line, or Broken Blade going for a flank. All of those things can allow Doublelift to be an assassin as the Kai'Sa and not have to fight front to back like Immortals want to do with their team comp from Champ Select, you know, showing a very standard frontline composition. It's gonna be so difficult for Altek and Eika. So I feel like we have to look at the game from Immortals' perspective because that's hard mode.
Yeah, everything's difficult right now for Immortals. I also want to point out a small detail. That kill that was just acquired by Doublelift and Bjergsen a minute ago was the first kill of the game for TSM that Spica did not participate in. He has had 12 of 13 kill participation on this Lee Sin and has been the absolute catalyst of all this success so far. Cannot understate how good of a game he is having here on this Lee, facilitating the rest of the team, getting to the point where we're able to talk about this incredible lead they have. Back at 16 minutes into the game, I said 4K. That's a rough spot to be in. This lead is now over 8,000 gold 22 minutes in. And when I said if you're Immortals and you're not careful, you're going to get to the point where it's out of your control, it's out of their control. TSM has to screw up. When you're down 8,000 at 23 minutes into the game, the other team has to screw up, and they got to do it pretty badly for you to really have a chance to come back into this game. I would say that TSM's in the driver's seat and Immortals are stuck in the passenger side hoping for a chance to drive. They're in the trunk. They're trying to figure out a way to get back into the part of the car where you can actually see the road, but it's so hard right now because TSM have just been shutting them down at every opportunity.
They surely have. And again, they're doing a very good job of keeping up the pace of the game. Spica and Bifrost constantly invading together to clear out the vision. Looks like they're trying to pull them over to the Baron right now, so as teleport's available. Let's see if TSM can actually get that cooldown out of Immortals. And they've got the flank.
Oh, this is not ending well for Immortals. I wasn't even going to try to keep up with how fast those health bars were dropping because I knew they were going to be 0 before I finished my sentence no matter what. Soaz finds the Ornn Horn at the back end of the fight. Biofrost will be taken low, but Doublelift is godlike. TSM is shredding these Immortals players. The entire team evaporates in front of your very eyes, and that's a clean ace for TSM. Baron, naturally the call.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so one-sided right now. TSM are going to take the Baron, and that should be enough for them to crack inside the Immortals space. Probably pushing, towards Nexus turrets with it. Honestly, this last one was just another clip for the Spica highlight reel at the end. Very smooth insect that he had to get the extra kill onto Orianna. Let's take another look at it though. Biofrost, they had just cleared that control ward. He flanks around, he takes down immediate 2 kills right off the board. Then Aka does get a shockwave, and since Soaz turns around, it looks like Immortals, maybe we can try and chase down a kill here. They used a lot, but Spica slides in so clean, uses the Q hop into the ward hop over behind Aka to kick the last possible threat into the team. And TSM get the ace, they get the Baron. This just looks like them firing on all cylinders. And what a resurgence. From Spica to go from that meme of a Kayn game to this, right? Complete dominance.
And now Immortals somehow have to try to survive this. I say somehow because I can't think of a way that they do. TSM have a 5-digit lead 25 minutes into the game. It's a situation where I fully expect them to end the game with this Baron power play, especially considering their current average game times, considering how this team has been able to close out so far. Yeah, it's a small sample size. We're only in
and
week
one of
2
them was
of the
them getting
LCS.
closed out on.
But for a team who has aspirations to be at the top again, and for a team who's talking about how they're ready to come back swinging now that they've got double lift and everything's locked and loaded and ready to go, you want to see them finish it on this Baron power play and put their money where their mouth is. Now they're pushing 2 separate lanes at once. It's Broken Blade keeping the bottom lane enchanted with the Baron buff, while everybody else is pushing mid and top together. Tier 2 turrets now down in every single lane. The only thing left standing for Immortals is all within those base walls. Can TSN crack them? It looks like they will. Bottom lane tier 3 turret, 25%. Hey man, no spoilers.
Sorry. I mean,
25%.
I'm looking down the tools here of Immortals. I'm like, all right, we got to build some sort of game plan, some story for them right there. Backed into a corner here. But they honestly just don't even have any damage either. This is the Frozen Heart Ezreal, or excuse me, Frozen Fist Ezreal, Iceborne Gauntlet. So it is more tanky, but it's a 2-carry team, and one of them does not have a lot of juice behind it. Aka also hasn't finished the death cap, so they're close to having a possible powerful shockwave, but honestly, that shockwave even right now isn't very threatening to TSM, and since they have a triple frontline team, there's no way for you to pull a surprise move. When you draft a team like this, you need to have control of objectives early so that your 2 carries can pull a lot of weight and your front line can set them up. But when you are so far behind like this, it means that you don't have any sort of surprise damage to even burst down members of TSM that are out of position.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to be able to
complete.
get anything... Wait, death cap complete. Okay, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. All right, we've got death cap complete. So as soon as Soaz hits level 15, he will then be able to enchant that death cap for Aka, and maybe there's a small light shining in the darkness.
And Aka hits 16 next, maybe? Okay.
We'll see.
You need some more experience.
I still think that light shining in the darkness is probably when you close your eyes too hard and you're seeing spots there. It's not actual light. I think it's one of those types of situations for Immortals right now.
I see.
But I mean, if that shockwave that he got in the last fight that we saw that led to the TSM Baron, that was a good shockwave. It found 3 players. It took everybody down to about 40% HP. But the problem is, a shockwave alone a team does not make. They need to have something else around it, and everybody else is just disappearing in front of their very eyes. Spica looking for the opportunity to go in here yet again. Soaz is the only person he can really do anything on right now. Jumps over the wall, looks for maybe the chance to get a kick, but he won't find it. Can get right back to safety, and the whole TSM squad has arrived, Kobe. They're kicking in the door, and they've made their way into the base. Inhibitor under fire. TSM now backing away. Soaz has decided to initiate. He fires the Ornhorn off at Bjergsen to interrupt what he thought could be an ultimate channel, but considering Bjergsen was not channeling, nothing has been interrupted. Biofrost looking to engage with the quickness, and here we go. Bjergsen tries to make his way into the fight. The Crow Storm coming up, the damage going down, double is going legendary, and they manage to take down Gate while everyone else retreats. Spica is low on HP. Bjergsen being chased down now by Alltech. Immortals looking for some sort of an opportunity to punish here. Shockwave was used. but Doublelift grabs the kill onto Aka. The counterattack from TSM surges forward, and Soaz is in full retreat with the remaining 2 players on his team. Spica was felled by that True Shot Barrage from Altec. However, considering he had Guardian Angel, so close, but still so very far for Immortals as they try to just keep their head above the water here. TSM will rotate over to the mid lane. They will continue the push. Bjergsen sweeping out this area, making sure there's no wards nearby. Over the wall he goes. Crowstorm is down. Altec is out. Ladies and gentlemen, the enemy AD carries out of the picture, and that means the push machine will continue all the way into the heart of the base. Potluck is back alive. Aka will be alive in 5 seconds, but will he even be able to see the Nexus go down? Yes, he will, but that's all he'll get. 2v5, they will not stand. Immortals fall to TSM 30 minutes in. Incredibly dominating victory from TSM.
Yep, TSM just firing on all cylinders here. Looks like they're just beating up on Immortals. I really like a lot of things that they brought to it. Mainly, Potluck and Biofrost setting up so many plays for this team, focusing on the vision, really making it a well-rounded look from TSM, playing multiple sides of the map. Meanwhile, Immortals are definitely in a hole. They had some troubles in the offseason. Yeah, okay, they're in the trunk still. Maybe the trunk is now in a hole as well because a lot of the roster moves kind of signaled that there were probably some internal problems going on there, and offseason didn't go how they wanted. Of course, it probably didn't go how a lot of teams wanted, but now they're 0-3 and on the receiving end of quite the defeat there.
Spica, man, popped off so hard. And I do want to go back and, again, give you guys some more fun stats. Same vein as what I was talking about earlier, because when I mentioned it took the 13th kill of the game before he missed a single kill participation. After that, he said, "My bad, guys. I'm slipping. Let me step it up." He finishes the game with 22 out of 23 KP. That one kill onto Soaz is the one he missed out on. And if that is not damn good jungling, then I don't know what is. I can't help but just give it up for the guy. Just absolutely incredible jungle play from Spica this time around, really just enabling everybody else on the team.
Completely agree. And it feels good too, kind of rooting for someone after they get memed on so hard and have, like we saw in week 1. Regardless, TSM bouncing back really, really quickly. Very strong performance from them.
Hey, now that just means he gets to be the rarest picture in LCS Pokemon Snap and the meanest dude in the jungle here in Friday Night League. We're stepping away for a moment, but on the other side, we're going to be coming back to an interview with Spica, and we'll wrap up Friday Night League. Don't y'all go anywhere.
Verizon knows how to build unlimited right. You start with America's most awarded network, the one with unbeatable reliability 13 times in a row.
This network is one less thing I have to worry about.
Then you give people more plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need.
Verizon Unlimited plan is so reasonable, they could stay on for the rest of their lives.
You include the best in entertainment, and you offer it all starting at $35. Because everyone deserves the best. This is Unlimited built right, only on Verizon.
Welcome back to Friday Night League for the Verizon post-game interview. I'm joined by the man whose name could not get off the caster's lips last game. It is Spica. An amazing Lee Sin game there to take a dominating win over Immortals. I feel like that's more the style we expect from you.
Yeah, I think Lee Sin was one of my best champs. I was glad to be able to pull it out.
Yeah, and in regards to your jungle opponent, Potluck, you've played him a bunch of times in Academy, now facing off here against the LCS. Did you feel like you had any extra info or extra comfort getting to play an opponent you've had quite a few reps with?
I really don't think that's the case. I think we had a really clear game plan going into the game. BB called that we could dive top, and that was our plan going into the game, and I think we did that very successfully. So I wasn't really thinking about my jungle matchup at all.
Yep, and it seemed like once the plays started working, which they worked from the first one, you couldn't really do any wrong. Like, did you ever feel in that game there's a point where like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that, or did everything just go very smoothly?
I think we made some macro mistakes in game, but I think in general the game felt very smooth. We had like pretty good communication, we had good game plan. I think everyone was on the same page.
For sure. And then I guess like stepping back a little bit and just talking about, you being back on this team. First of all, like just in the off season, how was, coming back into this team, different teammates, different situation, like how has being reintroduced back into the TSM LCS team been for you?
I think it's been great so far. Everybody was like really welcoming. We're very close, I would say. I think we're all like kind of friends, but we're also just working together to improve each other. So I think so far, everything has been going pretty great in terms of just transitioning.
As far as relationships with your teammates go, what's it like playing with, players like Bjergsen, like Doublelift? I mean, even Broken Blade has become fairly established in Bifrost as well. What's it like as the new young player stepping into such an experienced team?
I think obviously they have a lot of experience, but I feel like we're able to share our opinions. So I don't think anyone is like over each other. Like we all try to just play to improve and just become a better team pretty much. So I think that's like a very good thing.
Yeah. And then on style, it does feel like TSM's always been a fairly aggressive team, but I feel like with you and Doublelift being in this team, that's kind of being amped up even more. Do you feel like you get to exert some of that aggressive influence like onto this team now, especially when the jungle meta is so aggressive?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Bjerg and BB is really good at playing this style. Just last play, they were always diving top with Dardoch. They're always playing together, and they won a lot of games through that. So I think this split, with the introduction of Doublelift to our roster, we are just becoming more well-rounded. We're playing like 2 more lanes. We're playing through bot. We can play through mid. We can play through top. So I think that really helps our just team in general, just being a good team when you could just play through every lane. And I think Doublelift for sure adds a lot to our team in terms of like shot calling. It really helps just playing the game in general.
Well, it certainly seems like it's looking good there. Congratulations on you in today's pick, and thank you very much for joining me. That's it for us here. We're going to hand it back over to the State Farm Analyst Desk to wrap up the day.
Thank you so much, Pastry Time. You heard it from Spica himself, unconcerned with his particular jungle matchup, but nonetheless, he had a tremendous role in TSM's overall victory here today.
Yeah, and if you want to compare this to last week's Spica, I mean, that Kayn game is just kind of burned into my brain a bit, where he like can't interact with
into
lanes.
Your brain,
yeah,
courtesy of Golden Glue?
Yeah, it's stuck in there. But this game was great. He had a pushing top and a pushing mid, and he invaded that blue buff early, got the dives top, and that really didn't stop him. He was making plays bot lane after that. He was doing flash kicks. So I really like how active he was in this game. He didn't really like get a lead and hold on to it and play safe. He actually got that lead and kept looking for more plays.
Yeah, the kill participation itself is a huge part of it, which is sometimes hard to actually do as a jungler. Like if people start getting solo kills and whatnot, the fact that he only missed out on one, which was that Bjergsen and Doublelift combo onto Soaz, that's super good to see out of him. And it all started with his early game and the fact that he was working with the laners to make a lot of the plays happen.
Yeah, and it's also not to mention that it was like a 25 kill game. You know, it's pretty hard to get a 95% KP in a 25 kill game. So it was just a really impressive performance by Spica all around. And you know, part of what enabled that was this middle six roaming all the time.
Yeah, I like Soaz's attempt there. Unfortunately, no one had taken turret aggro yet, so he gets dropped. And this is what we're talking about, like working with solo laners. You know, he's not just ganking, he's setting up 3-man dives with the team. And then the TP back was one that I can understand kind of going for, but he didn't start with boots. And then they do a really good job of being able to kill him again, and even though they trade out 1 kill here, the fact that Soaz is missing all those minions makes it totally worth it. Bjergsen doesn't mind falling a little bit behind his tank Fiddlesticks to set the Ornn behind and give the set, advantage the rest of the game.
Now, with the early game coordination that we were seeing from TSM, one of the greatest criticisms for TSM during the spring split was the lack of decision making for the team overall. Probably, do you feel that they were able to carry that out throughout this game a bit more effectively for some consistency and some kind of strategy?
Yeah, this actually felt really good. I thought, their macro, like you mentioned, wasn't absolutely perfect, but they did systematically take down turrets and pressure the map together. I definitely saw Spico and Biofrost grouping up together, and both of them are very mobile on Rakan and Lee Sin, so they're able to kind of go deeper than most mid-jungle supports and clear out wards and still be able to get out. So I did like how they moved around the map, although they did have that double dive top, which was TSN special from spring.
Yeah.
So they did have a nice lead to get them in there.
But you did mention mid, and we have to talk about Fiddlesticks. I think we all echo Kobe's sentiment and how excited he was once this pick ended up getting locked in here for the LCS. So, Mark, what are some of the main components that we have to think about when we're thinking about the tanky mid Fiddlesticks?
So there's a lot of things to look at. That build is not quite right,
that's
actually.
Not an accurate Fiddlesticks build.
Yeah, that's a 0 out of 10 build. What you want to do with Middlesticks is he's actually a tank. You take Aftershock. You're going to usually build whatever your lane opponent is. You're going to build that resistance item first, whether that's a Glacial Shroud or if you're going to go straight to Spirit Visage. Probably Spirit Visage because most are AP. And like a lot of the tanky mids, your job is really to push easily with his W, which you're going to max first, which will hit the whole wave and try and clear it out. You can take kind of bad trades with the sustain, and then you want to go and team up with your jungler to get things done. It's a lot of push and roam, similar to Galio, Ornn, even Ornn mid, Sion mid, all these things that have cropped up mid before. It's somewhat similar to that playstyle, though there are a lot of unique intricacies with his passive crows and his Q interactions.
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of Fiddlesticks being talked about, a lot, kind of through the grapevine. I haven't really seen it much in scrims, and if you look up on solo queue, Bjergsen and Niski have been playing it, and that was actually the very first game I've seen it in an actual game. It definitely seemed like it brings a lot of utility. I think not everyone is actually aware of how much utility Fiddlesticks brings with its effigies or basically pink wards all over the map. And late game, you ult in and you fear everyone. If that's your first point being seen, you have a 2-second fear on 5 people. So it brings a lot of utility as a tank.
Well, speaking on that utility, Mark, if we look at Bjergsen and what he's brought to the table previously, he's no stranger to serving that role. So do you think this can be an effective pick for him and maybe something that we see more from him kind of servicing that utility?
I hope so. He has had a history of the Urgot mids, the Cho'Gath mids, and these Galio mids. So this does actually fit more into his wheelhouse, despite us kind of labeling him the archaic mid laner in the countdown, the Friday Night League beginning. So I think there is a lot of things that do work with Bjergsen's general playstyle. He does actually like trying to team up with his jungler and get people ahead on these picks.
I'm gonna say though, the Middlesticks, the Sion, Galio, Ornn, those are the easy mode. I'm gonna help my team. Those are easy roamers. Yeah. It's I'm down 40 CS, but I'm Middlesticks building tank. Who cares? I still want to see a performance where he's playing a carry champion, the way Nixie will play Zoe, for example, and still be even in CS or close and make an impact. I think that's a much harder playstyle to grasp, and I'm fine with the training wheels of playing Middlesticks to help your team, but I still want to see a full-fledged I'm a real carry, but I can help my team.
And nonetheless, it was a help in pushing TSM up in those standings. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and take a look at how all the teams are faring so far. After a full first week and a couple matches here in week number 2, Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, and Team Liquid standing as the undefeated at the top, but 100 Thieves not quite getting their win. Granted, they've had a tough schedule so far, but Golden Blue, do you think that they have more to worry about? I believe Team Liquid is their next opponent coming up soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think these standings are semi-accurate. I think it's kind of surprising to see CLG this high up on the standings, but seeing Cloud9, seeing EG, seeing Team Liquid in the top 4 kind of makes sense to me. And then I think all the other teams are still trying to figure out what their playstyle is, and the meta also seems very up in the air right now. We just saw a tank Middlesticks. That's not really, you haven't seen that every game. Twisted Fate is coming to some games, and I think some teams are just trying to figure out, where do we want to put our carries, where do we want to put our utility in the team, and I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. I definitely want to throw a quick shout out to the rest of TSM too, because we didn't talk at all about Doublelift, but he looked like that was the first Doublelift game, I would say, of almost all of 2020. Like that was the first, oh my God, he's popping off and crapping on kids. So I think there's a lot of good things that a lot of these teams are showing.
Agreed. I mean, we're talking about the carry potential Bjergsen, but having two that can fill that powerful role can be something for everyone to look forward to. And speaking of what we have to look forward to, tomorrow when we pick back up with the LCS, we've got 4 fresh matches coming at your face. Countdown will start at 12:30 p.m. and then we have Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves for game number 1. Shortly following that, we will of course have TSM once again taking to the virtual stage, this time against FlyQuest, with 2 more matches to round out the day. Probably, is there any particular match you're looking forward to most? I know Cloud9 and Evil Geniuses for sure catches my eye.
Yeah, I think C9 EG is going to be really fun, especially for a mid matchup, but I'm still looking at TSM FlyQuest, because FlyQuest finishing second in spring, we still haven't seen them come back to form and start dominating again, so I'm really curious to see how they're actually going to perform in week 2, so that's the match I'm going to be looking for.
Yeah, lots of aggression that came out of them before. Maybe we'll get to see a bit more of that in the future. Golden Glue is our guest here on the desk. We're right at the end. Any thoughts from you on your first experience here on Friday Night League?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it feels like Friday Night League is the right time for Middle Six to come out. So I was excited. I was excited to see something new and something interesting, something I haven't seen before. The game seemed somewhat one-sided, but it was a pretty impressive, I'd say, dominating win from the winning teams. I never felt like those teams were going to lose, so it was a cool time.
Well, I must say, had a great time with you hanging out here with us on the analyst desk for Friday Night League. Thanks again for joining us. But to all of you that are watching in the audience, that about does it for our coverage happening here today for our games with Friday Night League. And we will be continuing on into a break, after which Sushi Dragon will be coming on through for our post-show. But again, that does it for myself, for everyone here on the analyst desk, and on behalf of our entire remote crew. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, everybody, TGIF.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Whoa! Get him out of here! Whoa, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy?
Back.
Whoa! Get him out of here! Yeah, get him.
I'm back.
Yeah, cut his feet.
I'm back.
Cut his feet. Cut his feet. Whoa, who's that guy? It's an imposter. Cringe. What's up, guys? How you doing, man? High five. High five. We totally get each other. What's up? How you doing? I'm the real Sushi Dragon, and I gotta say one thing. Friday Night League, what is up? Hey. Cool. Well, congratulations. I want to say congratulations to the winners. To the winner. COG and TSM. And as a bonus, the winner of the mid lane of TSM is going to be performing for us. Yeah, who's ready to see Bergerson? Berserkerson. Berserkerson, could you please announce yourself? Wait a second. How did I get here? Hey, good luck. Don't worry, you got this. They love it. They love you. Yeah, but I don't. This is not by choice, everyone. How do you feel about doing KDA? KDA? What? All right, DJ, play the music. All right, here we go.
Come and run again. We wanna do this right now. It's KDA. I'm a goddess with a blaze. Story time on the eater.
Yeah! Here's that, baby!
With the wild in my veins, you can hear it in my glow. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. 닿을 수 없는 레벨. 나와 되길 원한 늘 확신해.
Yeah, come on, LCS, this is harder than it looks. Let's make some noise!
Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down. They could try, but we gonna win the crown. You can go another round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. Go hard, till we get it. We go hard. We so in it, we pop stars.
Just kidding. I got this. I can't let him do the whole song. Hey, calm down. I can't let you do that for too long. This is my job. This is my part. You can leave now, or you can stay. Hey, sorry. Just wanted to go. That's what you get for winning. Thank you. Congratulations, TSM. We're gonna be actually interviewing Mark Z. So I'm gonna do that. Bergson, can you hold him off for a bit? Yeah, sure. Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me. That was a close match, but obviously I'm just better, and I would do it the same way again. So no issues there. Yeah. How you doing? We have Mark on almost. Yeah, is Mark here?
Hello, am I actually on right now?
Yeah, Mark. Hey, Mark. NA Production. Okay, let me teleport me to the scene. In 3, 2.
I'm here.
Hey, Mark. Hey, how you doing? Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too. Oh wait, it's reversed. God damn it.
Hey, man, those games today were wild, man. I gotta tell you, they was not what well, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected CLG to win. We had 3 Golden Guardians predictions, so I don't know. So weird night, middle sticks, all that stuff. Give me.
Yeah.
It's a weird show.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, and this is my first time meeting Mark. I'm the Sushi Dragon. This is the Mark.
That's a lie.
Second time.
I did 2 Gaffies with you. I'm pretty sure.
Three
No,
times.
just
3
one.
times.
Whatever.
Yeah, so, yeah. That's what. Well, I mean, you know, what doing this, you know, like the laptop's a little scary, so it's a little. I'm a little nervous. But hey, that's part of the. How are you not nervous right now? Just used to it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on enough shows.
Hey, can I show you a cool effect?
Yeah, I love
haven't
cool
seen
effects.
This. Okay, check this out.
Have I not seen that before?
Yeah, this? No, you definitely haven't seen this one before. It's as you can see, it's rotating.
Do I have anything cool like that?
No. Sorry. Let's talk about the games. Can I show you the highlights?
Yeah, I like highlights.
Bring up the big screen. Bring up the big TV. Bring down the big TV.
Is this voice activated? Is that
Yeah,
what the problem was?
voice activated technology. Look at this. Look at that.
Bring back up the TV. Does it work for me?
Let's play the video. Why is Bergerson doing there? Berg, what are you doing? What are you doing over there?
Their team composition here for the Golden Guard.
Oh, there it is. Oh, touchscreen technology.
Oh.
Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Let me just pause that. Okay, so this is the first video. I really want to slow the volume a little bit. Yeah, right there. Good. Yeah, and let's kind of digest this. You know, analyze it a little bit. What do you?
For the
this is a Nidalee going for an invade with the support, so he thinks he's pretty
really
safe. Doesn't actually know that there's people coming up from the side.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't see. There we go. Yeah, the TF is able to get there.
Yeah.
And they also have the TP disadvantage, so there's a pretty risky invade to actually go for without having any sort of globals to back it up,
Yeah,
which
and
is
look,
different than,
and look right here. He risks it for the biscuit, and then he gets rewarded. He gets rewarded. COG, baby.
I don't know if mine's coming through. I can clap louder.
Oh no, you could. Yeah, clap this. COG, baby. That's my boys. Yeah. So, hey, let's look at another clip.
To make any use of it. Fortunately for the side of CLG,
Is this
they only need one more attack.
Is this?
Time.
Whoa.
On that tier 3
Who is that?
We could very easily see a fight here. If Golden Guardians
Roomba,
do
could you
not
please pause the video?
recognize this situation.
Sure thing, boss. Thank you, Roomba. So, hey, Mark.
Yeah, this is a perfect pause point because this is where the Volibear turns the turret off when he goes and presses R button.
Right there,
It's really
right?
cool.
Right over there.
Yep, that big bear.
And you see, that was incredible.
He hasn't done it yet. You need to unpause the video for him
Oh
to
yeah,
turn
he
the
has.
turret
Yeah,
off.
right, let's go ahead. Let's touchscreen technology.
Yeah,
check this out.
And back up. Red turret.
Yeah, there,
destroyed.
see, he
it on the
jumps,
screen.
that big
CLG
explosion.
walking up.
The
So
turret's
many
kind of gray right now.
engaged
That's
mechanisms
because
here.
it's off, and he's
With
able to go in and allow his team to get the rest of the kills.
Play onto Demonte,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
Yeah.
CLG
It's really, really good.
fight.
I expect to see a lot more Volibear coming forward. I think it's a really strong pick. You get all big,
I revved the
you
gas
get
up,
lightning,
man. I had
and
my foot
it's really
on that
cool.
accelerator. We were
Yeah,
ready to go.
that was a good. That was a man. The game one really exciting. Didn't expect COG to come out strong. But what I was really interested was game two. There was a technique that I really want to show you. Let me swipe through to the next video. This one's my favorite one. This is my favorite one right here. Right. Oh wait, no, not this one. Not this one. The tower dive. You know the tower dive. They kind of like he dived into the tower, like kind of. He kind of how you would dive into a swimming pool,
you can
right?
just call him tower dive.
Just
Yeah.
out now, ready to come off of cooldown.
He'll get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really good play, well coordinated, because they have the TP coming in on the minion that's getting shot. And then right here, Soaz, 3-man knockup's really good, and it's hard to want to pass that up, but no one had turret aggro yet, so a little unlucky, but There's
Yeah.
not much he could do there. He was definitely dead.
But trust this next one is even crazier. Let's
Well,
let's show the next one. Check this one. Check this one out.
If TSM
One second. Can you pause it for a second? I mean, can I pause it? Hold on, let me pause it.
To this channel.
That's not a.
Wrong video. Bring down the big screen TV. Bring down the big TV.
Is there a shortcut? So let's just snap into place.
No, it's
Do you have to listen to this every time?
The technology is super advanced. You can't.
Yeah, maybe a skip ahead on that.
Hey, don't laugh, please. This is serious stuff. We're analyzing, okay? I'm an analyst. I don't know if you know that, but Mark and I were professional analysts, right? Mark, could you tell me?
Yeah, you want to take this replay since you're a professional?
Yeah.
analyst?
Oh, let me
Breakdown?
take this replay. I can do this. Look at this. Okay, so let me play that. Let me lower the volume. Play it and then lower the volume. Okay. So check this out. So what's happening here is that this technique right here is what in the scene is called the ninja dirty frying pan technique. And if you pause it right here, we had a sneaky technique where he was just hiding. He was patiently waiting, and then as that was happening, the reason why they call it the dirty frying pan technique is that you get a TP right at the end of the end of this fight, and then they just come in and yoink the win.
I like. What is it called? The ninja dirty frying pan technique.
Yeah, it's a ninja dirty frying pan technique.
I'll bring it up in story meeting after this to make sure we start using that more often for any vision plays and flanks and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it'll catch on. That's a really good way of putting it. It's really intuitive.
Yeah, it's an advanced league technique. Not a lot of people know about it. Let's go ahead and play the video and see how it looks like.
They already killed both of them.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Of course. Did you?
My bad. Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah,
actually.
of course.
That
Okay.
last
So
second was dope.
yeah. Hey, look at this cool effect. Let's go on to the next video. I gotta distract the kids. Oh, here it is. Okay, so look at this. Look at this cinematic view of the dirty frying ninja technique. Again, hiding in here patiently. The team doesn't know, and then, well, bam! Come in with the TP and they strike while with the dirty frying pan, right?
Yeah, I'm excited to see more dirty frying pans come out over the course of the LCS season, especially now that they know that they have this sick nickname. I bet on YouTube you'll see like Ninja Dirty Frying Pan compilation videos.
Absolutely.
Coming up everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, Mark. Hey, thanks for the interview tonight. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
thanks for having me.
Oh,
Was that the prompt for me?
No. I wanted to show you this. I'm sure you can relate to this. Look at this, Deborah.
A mannequin?
Yes.
I thought you were a hardcore C9 fan.
Huh? What are you talking about? TL for life.
Oh, you hate to see it. It do be like that, right? You never know what side you really play on.
Yeah, fans are fickle, you know? Deborah, was that her name?
Yeah, Deborah.
Deborah's
Deborah, what's... Yeah. What... Yeah, so, yeah, cool. Let me take down let me put the TV back up. Just kidding, I can't do that. So, hey, Mark, thank you.
It just stays down?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for I did it the wrong way again.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
I don't want to...
Hey, don't cut your hand.
Do you have any other Draven animations?
Oh,
like could you throw your axe?
Dude, that's a really good idea. I'll keep that next time. I want to say we're going to continue the performance. Bjergsen, did you see that? Did you see Bjergsen perform today?
I saw the dancing before, yeah.
Yeah, Bjergsen, can you come back and...
It was a little...
There he is. Hey, what's up? What's up, Mark? How you doing? How you like my gameplay?
Oh, yeah, that was really cool, dude. Your Fiddlesticks was interesting. I liked it. Are you gonna?
Yeah,
play
yeah.
more?
It's what it's my tech. It's my favorite technique. Yeah. Cool.
Anything else you got? You're gonna play this? That's cool this weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna play. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna cut to commercial. Hold on. What's this commercial break? Oh. Oops. Oh, hey. Hey. LCS. Friday Night League. How you doing? This is Friday Night League with Sushi Dragon and your host. Not him. Him. Him.
I'm not hosting.
No, just kidding. Just kidding. Hey. What? Alienware. Yep. Well, we're back from the ads. Hey, Mark, thanks for having us tonight. Your presence was really insightful.
Yeah, it was.
I'm gonna let you go.
It was great.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go, and we're gonna continue the Bjergesen is gonna continue the performance of KDA. Thank you, Mark. You're fantastic. Say goodbye.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. Nice. Okay, Bjergesen. Are you ready for KDA? Bjergesen? Yeah, play the music. Hold on. Play the music. Hey, play the finale, please. Play the finale. Well, I'm ready when you are, Sushi Dragon.
Come and run again. We wanna dose of this right now. It's KDA. I'm a goddess with a blade. 소리 처음 나 이름 믿지 못하게 loud, 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 loud. I could take you to the top. 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 매개.
Yo, what's up, guys? LCS, make some noise! But wait, there is a sudden backup player who's making an appearance. Not me. What? Double lift! I'm here to back you up. Don't worry. It may seem scary in front of so many people, but I'm here to put on a show. Let's go. Whoa! Whoa! You sing this right now? Hey, analyst, could you pause for 1 second and just take a look at the screen? Just pause from analyzing for 1 second and look. That's Bjergesen dancing to KDA. How could you not get hype? Come on, guys, it's harder than it looks, man. Live production, man. Live production. LCS! Make some noise! Whoa. Yo, I just want to say congratulations again to TSM, COG. Can I get a photo with TSM, by the way? Oh, yes? Is that a yes? Oh, absolutely. Okay. Oh, the winners, please. Oh, there we go. Hey, how you guys doing? How you guys doing? Hey, big fan. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming out. Hey, you guys, that was a cool game and you're a great game. I love the ninja frying pan technique. Thanks for performing with us today. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Can I get a photo, maybe? Can I get a photo with us? Oh my god, thank you. I'm gonna keep that one for life. Hold on, another photo. Look. Oh look. Oh wait, what is this? It's Immortals listening on the new strat. Hey guys, wanna know the secret how to win? Yeah? Well, too bad. Okay, well, let's take one more photo for the road. Goofy faces, please. Goofy faces. Aww. Aww. Hey, that was fun. Didn't expect to see Bjergsen. Berserkerson coming out and performing with us. I hope you had a great time. And oh yeah, so thanks for coming out. All right, Bjergsen. Yeah, well, hey, you know, that's want to do one more dance? I don't know, man. That was really tiring. Could you can we talk about the highlights or something? Because I can't do this for too long. That's too bad because we're gonna do it again. Wait, no, please. Just kidding. All right, man, that was a lot of work. Hey guys, thanks for having me again. Seriously, League of Legends. I'm gonna go ahead and toss it back to you. We're getting one step closer to the winner of this ridiculously shiny trophy. Look at this. See this right now? Oh man, that's really shiny. All right, well, yeah, see you guys next week. Friday Night League again. Well, bam! Thanks for having me. Bam! And more performances next week if we get one. Okay, well, see you later, guys. And back to you, commercial break. Yep. Whenever you're ready, commercial. I'm not the real commercial, but you could bring back to the